Oh my
I'm
gosh.
sorry. I am so sorry. I've been distracted.
No, just distracted. Nah. Who would have thought?
Bloopers.
Bloopers. Exactly.
Yes, the uncut.
Or-
Josh will be really happy to hear this part that didn't make it into the live
Yeah.
stream.
Yes.
Or as I'm fond of saying on my show, hello, patrons.
See, this is why I went and got me a can, even though I normally don't drink Coke. Well, I do drink Coke when I'm recording, but I just trying to be better. But it's like after all this stress, I need my comfort.
Yeah.
food.
he needs a little cup. He needs a caffeine to
I should
mellow
have gotten
out.
I should have gotten my big old cup of water with me. I usually am good about doing that, but like I said, I'm not in my normal podcast setup, so things are not going according to plan at all.
We're both in like a different situation
All
and
chaos all the time.
agreed.
Okay, I just need to check and make sure everything is actually going on Twitch because that's all we're streaming to right now.
What?
That's all I can get it to do
Oh no!
because I can't pay for the other thing right now. I don't have
Because
time to
it was
set that up.
literally a punt and had to go back to the other
Yes.
one.
So yeah,
And
Give me a-
obviously, you don't have Vanderjagt with you. Says there, I made a sports reference. So
All right, let me get
Josh
out
is
there.
here.
Like, hey, we are currently on
yeah, we're
Twitch.
currently on, please post that before I go nuts or nuttier.
are you gonna put it on Twitter? Because I'll share it.
Yes, I will do that. I am very bad about remembering Twitter exists.
Well, I'm just saying that because that's the easiest place for me to share it.
Right. I can spell this evening.
Spelling? What's that?
I need to actually get my Twitch URL going here.
The world.
I don't have
Oh, okay.
that. It was muted, but it wasn't muted. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Yoink.
Yoink.
Yoink. Yeah, I say yoink.
I'm okay with yoink.
Review. For Nate or Nathan?
I go by either, although on the Film Vault, I usually go by Nate.
Okay, I'm going to go that way since canon.
Yeah, congratulations. You guys are officially being added to the podcast canon.
Yay!
That's what I have to do now. I literally have a wiki file for all of the MIFV lore.
Okay. It is tweeted.
Why does it sound like something out of the Ten Commandments? It is tweeted.
It has been tweeted.
So let it be tweeted. So let it be done.
Indeed. Okay. I just want to make sure you can hear my soundboard, so I'm going to have Deedlet talk for a second.
Definitely heard that.
Okay. And how does the intro sound?
The Cellcast is recorded in front.
Yeah, that
Sounds
sounds
pretty good.
awesome. That's the
Oh.
only two things I need tonight.
Oh, you did a new intro.
I haven't started.
Oh, okay.
We have not started the podcast yet.
No, be like you played it over the headphones.
Yes, I did. I did set that part up so we could hear it.
Good deal.
Because otherwise we won't hear it.
This is going
This
to
is the
this is either going to be highly entertaining or one great big cluster. I don't know what yet.
This
Or
is
maybe
a
it'll
normal
be
night.
an entertaining cluster. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
There have been worse.
Yes.
There has been
Sure.
worse.
Get out of my way. Oh my gosh! Come on, you stupid thing.
Okay.
I'm trying to post this on our Facebook page and try to get it out there and just
Oh yeah.
yeah. Ugh, come on.
Obey me, machine.
Yeah. Season 4 of the Cellcast is just starting with a bang.
Oh, this
yeah,
is the season
absolutely.
premiere?
Kind of.
It depends if if the anniversary episode was considered the last episode of season 3 or the first episode of season 4. I really have no idea.
Yeah. Well, if we go by that, it's certainly the first episode of season 4.
I think so because I think technically Frozen launched in February, and that's when we timed the anniversary episode.
Right.
All right. Oh,
so technically,
and
this is
just
Go
to
ahead.
make sure, because I don't want to embarrass myself and forget at the middle of the stream. Remind me your names. I have to keep these straight.
I'm Drew.
this is
Drew,
Jacob.
Yes.
Jacob. Got it. So Drew
Here.
and Jacob. Drew and Jacob.
I can help a little bit with that. Give me just a second.
It's all right. I'm just making sure.
Assuming
I-
remember where that is.
So I do have to put a disclaimer out there. I have Tourette's disorder, so I bark like a dog.
I'm
Not
still-
joking. I'm not joking. I
I
bark
am-
like a dog.
I am still waiting for the day we catch that on
So-
the podcast.
Throughout the most of the day, be like I probably barked all day because I literally bark like a dog. I sound like a big Rottweiler. It's like roof. Sounds like that. So throughout the day, it'd be like I barked like 3 or 4 times, and I haven't put any of my essential oils on today at all. So we might actually get a bark during the broadcast. So just letting
Well-
you know, Nathan. And it was like, oh crap, they got a dog in there. Where is it? It's me.
Yeah. Well, it's better than random swearing, right?
That is amen to that, brother.
Yeah. Okay. How close are we to going live on this?
Okay.
Ready to record this thing?
I am. Let me pull my notes up. And flip. Thank you very much. Sometimes, like pads or iPads have their own mind of their own. They don't want
Yeah.
to do what you ask them to do.
Of course.
Uh huh.
You realize all of that the robot apocalypse is coming, right? Judgment Day was just postponed.
Deedla doesn't like that.
Oh, she doesn't like Skynet? Of course she doesn't.
No, she
She
doesn't like
is
saying things
Skynet.
like taking over the world.
Amen. Oh yes.
Actually, I'll be honest. I haven't figured this story out. We're doing yet. I'm just making this up as I go.
Oh,
along.
this is gonna be a fun
Do
episode.
you realize how much I make up as I go to?
I will say you do a good job.
Well, a lot of
It's
it is
very professional.
basically I only plan stuff out enough so that I have a framework to work in, but a lot of things get said on the podcast that I don't know are coming.
That's you
That's-
know what? I can see this.
Yeah.
All things considered.
I mean, I had fans who literally created characters I had no intention of having, and then they got on the show.
You mean like your sister?
Yes. Pseudo sister, thank you.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yes, I wasn't planning on that.
I thought
that
we
was a
got past the pseudo sister phase of this.
Oh my
that
gosh.
was Bex. That was Bex. That was her doing.
Uh,
And
Oh,
but
man.
like Raymond and Gary, never expected those characters to show up. Then I had a fan make them on Twitter,
nice.
Wow.
nice.
and then they
This-
became regulars on the show.
Oh, this is gonna be a
We're just-
fun
We're
episode.
just getting all the inside scoop now.
This is awesome.
All right.
All right, so are
We
you
at
ready to go?
Yeah, we at least got Josh, who's listed as the real RKO Stoner over there. He's in here. He's
The
already
real
giving me
RKO
crap.
stunner.
Yeah, he's the one that's he gave us a pre-recorded message. And we got Neko, who is just having fun in there. More than likely, Dallas will probably raid us. I'm going to make a guess after their play and price.
Raid.
Raid.
It's Twitch. They'll just raid the chat room, but that hasn't happened yet. So, anyway, are we ready to start?
Yes.
Yes.
I am going to play a bumper, but the bumpers and the outro will probably be replaced before Saturday. I'm just going to let y'all know because I didn't get that part finished before I noted the other program crapped on me.
And I still have to do the artwork, the cover art for this. So
Right.
this is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. Okay, so I guess I will go ahead and get this started. Are y'all ready?
Yep.
Okay. Starting in.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. In this corner, weighing in at 70 tons, as tall as a mountain, and gets confused with King Gorge. Welcome, Jacob.
Roar! Woof. Why, thank you very much. Let's slam him! And let me use the other guy in the other corner. He's big. He's got spikes. He's got a large tail. And he just wants to suplex a monster. Welcome, Drew!
I have no remark on this. The reaction to this. Anyway, also in the other corner, we have joining us on the Cellcast for the very first time. He's a man who's as tall as a mountain, as wide as a tree. I don't know. And he somehow survived being launched into space. Welcome, Nate Marchand.
Heyo!
How are you doing?
I'm doing
man.
fine. How about yourselves?
Fair to middling. Fair to middling.
Oh, dude, this is going to be a good episode. I just know it. Just
the
know
music's
it.
still playing.
Anyway, before we get too far, so how are y'all doing? I mean, this is the start of season 4, and we haven't had
is
Nathan
it?
on before, so
Yes.
official. It's the first review of season 4, so that sounds like the start of it to me.
All righty.
All right, so before we get going into this too far, we do have what is
Oh,
it,
no.
Needlet? We got a message from one of our patrons.
What?
Josh sent us a message, and you're just telling me about this now?
Seriously?
You thought it would be funny to play it during the show.
Ha, ha, ha.
Okay, Deela, go ahead and play the message.
All right, so let me get this straight. Y'all finally get to a pro wrestling movie, and you don't invite me, the pro wrestling guy, to help you review it? I have half a mind to... You know what? It's cool. We're good. I wouldn't be able to be there anyway. I got some weird invitation in the mail to some place called Rhyme City. Something about experiencing Pokemon like I never have before. I don't know. Anyway, have fun trying to figure out the wrestling references without me. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, the answer to this week's trivia question is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 and the Willoughbys.
Yeah, the trivia question was this being Terry Crews's third animated film, what was one of the other two? And he kind of just stole the answer outright from under me. We did have some other people who answered that question.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. We look forward to you on a future episode. Deela, give me a mark. Yeah, I forgot to bring this up again. This is the third time.
Whoops.
So yeah, hello, patrons.
That's my line.
Let me tell you something, brother. Don't be stealing my lines.
Oh,
If this
man.
guy thinks that he's the only one who can get the wrestling references, he's wrong.
I know I posted it in here because
Gee whiz, and I thought I had a pushy producer.
You're lucky I can't get to the soundboard at the moment.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
All right.
I'm still trying to decide if I need to stay in character or not right now.
Okay, we're coming. We're coming back into the show. So we also had B Sheffield get the answer correct with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and Stephanie Russell got it, remarking that she actually he actually replaced Mr. T from the first Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. But of course, Josh was the only one who also got The Willoughbys, which was a Netflix animated movie.
Ah,
So yeah, that's
very
how
cool.
that went. So Jacob, now that we have finished the trivia question, I think it's time for the interrogation.
Yes.
Interrogation?
Yes. There's interrogation here. All right,
Oh
so-
boy, Jimmy? Well, actually, let me say first, we need to let everybody know not only do we have D-Lit here with us, but we also have my intrepid producer.
And his name is John C.
How long does that sound clip go for?
I can't begin to tell you how long I've been sitting on that joke. Isn't that right, Jimmy? Oh, calm down.
Oh, you don't know how much I wished he was in this movie because I was going to play the same joke in the cast list.
I beat you to it.
Oh, don't worry. There's another John Cena movie we can do at some point.
Oh,
so.
yes. Yes.
Let me tell you something, brother. What you gonna do when Natomania runs wild on you?
Natomania.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
Anytime you're ready, Jacob.
Jimmy, don't ruin my fun right now, okay? Jeez. You Wiz, I let you fly me here in Uber Mogura and you want to be a producer? This isn't even our show. You're just better be consider yourself lucky
Oh.
that you're even here. I'm just saying.
All right, so
Now
let's
go
go.
like, flirt with D-Lit or something because you got to think for AI.
Crap. I don't think she likes the idea of being flirted with.
Well, apparently Jimmy does. Ugh, weirdo.
Oh wow. Okay, that's gonna be awkward.
Uh, she doesn't sound happy.
She's not. I don't think she's had much time to actually deal with other people outside
Oh.
of the two of us. So I don't know how she feels about love interests yet.
What's love got to do with it? Got to do with it.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, I still haven't figured out how Jimmy miraculously survived the infamous war in space. And honestly, when he's tried to tell me how he did it and he couldn't figure out exactly what happened, I'm like, you know what? I almost don't care anymore. But I have to say, I think it messed with his brain a little bit because, like I said, he has this weird fascination with AI.
Mm.
She doesn't. And some idiot's calling me. I say some idiot because it's actually a friend of mine.
Hello, patrons.
Yes. The phone is muted now, so that shouldn't be a problem again.
Oh my gosh! At least D-List pulled us out of the digital frying pan when we got finished with Digimon Try the movies.
Yeah. we
I've
barely-
heard about this. I've been trying to catch up on your latest episode. Sounds
Yeah.
like you guys had quite the adventures, which
Just a
I
little
can
bit.
relate.
Just a little.
Yeah, I
Oh
haven't
my
been
God.
sucked into the digital world, but as
I'm still
Drew
I'm still trying
mentioned,
to
I
figure
have
out-
been shot into space.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm still trying to figure out how we didn't get stepped on by Metal Seedramon, though it came close.
Yeah, that is true. Crushed, squished, whatever, eaten, blasted, whatever. Thank the Lord, D-List got us out of there.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Well,
D-List.
obviously.
Yes. All right. So
Anyway, interrogate.
Well, let me
please.
tell you. Let me tell you. I work on an island full of monsters. I have experience with dodging kaiju.
okay.
Oh,
Well, that makes sense.
Among other things I've heard from that show.
Yes.
I get
One
the feeling
word.
I get the feeling if I ever get the chance to visit Monster Island, stay away from the mushrooms.
Oh no, no mushrooms. No mushrooms. The Matango are locked up in the island's basement for a reason. And if you've seen Dr. Dorif, you understand why he's the only one who bothers to have any interaction with them.
I kind of got
Ah.
that feeling while listening to your show.
Ah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we've kind of tiptoed around the interrogation.
Yes,
Why
we
don't
have.
actually do it?
All right. So, as our normal listeners know, whenever we have a guest, we do a torture, or rather not torture, but more interrogation of
Yes.
what our inspiring guest knows about animation and what their love and desire of animation is.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You realize what I survived last year with my Orwellian overlords?
Yeah.
You can't do anything to me.
Oh, okay. All right. Challenge accepted.
I was about to say.
Let's bring it, brother.
Let me tell you something, brother.
All right. So, Nathan.
The Rock
So-
says.
All right. So, growing up, what was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Thundercats.
Oh,
There you go.
yes.
That was one of them anyway. When
Oh,
I was
I absolutely love Thundercats.
when I was a very wee lad, my top 3 were Transformers, Thundercats, and G.I. Joe.
Oh, okay.
And then when I got a little bit older, I really loved Beast Wars.
Oh,
Of
yes. I love
Who
Beast Wars.
wouldn't? Love
Beast
Beast
Wars and obviously Godzilla the series. So
Ah,
Yes.
yeah.
Still working through Godzilla the series myself.
Oh,
Mhm.
my gosh.
Well, I kind of have to because somebody who was featured on that show is now my new boss.
Yeah.
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 How is he?
Well, so far he's not quite the Orwellian overlord that the old bosses were, but he does like getting favors from people, I think.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
So, because he's kind of a I scratch your back, you scratch mine a lot more kind
Okay.
of guy.
Okay. One of
So-
those kind of.
So I need to watch my back around him like I would around a Ferengi.
You bet. Except
I-
he's more likely to say, "Here, I will give you some money. Now, when I need you, I'm going to call you."
Lovely.
Ah, fun.
Lovely.
Hey, I need you to take a hit out for me. So be like, just be shush, and here's the briefcase. Go on, do your job, and be okay. All right, we'll be okay.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
All right, so back to the interrogation.
Yes.
All right.
Question 2.
All right, so what be like getting real with you be like you have a love for kaiju, you have a love obviously for Power Rangers. So what brought about the machination of your glorious podcast to talk about kaiju, everything kaiju, and then Power Rangers?
That's a little bit of an involved story. Should have watched Kaiju Kim's stream the other night when I was on. But to put it succinctly, I was on a friend's podcast and ended up talking with there was a milestone episode for him, and I was one of several regular guests that they had on. And so they had a couple of us on, and they had, unbeknownst to me, they had us talk about GMK, which was a Godzilla film, Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack, because we're not going to give that thing a new title at all.
Don't look at me. I love the title. So
Yeah. But anyway, and then at the end, he said, he jokingly said, one of the hosts jokingly said, "Hey, you guys should start your own podcast." A few months later, we got into the planning stages to actually make it happen. And then we made it happen. And I was on that show for a little less than a year. And then my co-host and I ended up parting ways because reasons. And then a year later, I'm really abridging this so we can get to the topic at hand because there's a lot involved with it.
Yeah.
And then a year later, I took a vacation to Monster Island and found out that there was an opening there for a film curator. So I decided, you know what? How about I work here? This will be fun. And then the more I started delving into it, like, you know what? There's a lot of cool information and everything. I'm going to put my master's degree to good use here. So I'm going to start a radio show talking about these films as I go and grab them out of the film vault. And so the rest is history.
All right. So that you're on Monster Island.
Yes.
All right. So if you had to, your 2 podcasts,
I have 3 actually.
Okay, you have 3. I didn't know about the third.
Yeah.
What is his third podcast?
Henshin Men.
Yeah.
Henshin Men. Okay.
Podcast about the appreciation of Japanese superheroes and their high flying and high kicking adventures.
All right.
But mostly so far, it's been the first season of Kamen Rider.
Gotcha.
Yes, because Kamen Rider is long.
How long is Kamen Rider?
98 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm behind on listening to that show because I'm trying to watch the actual show while I'm listening. So
All right.
I
So-
understand. I totally understand. But yeah, those were a couple of my podcast friends who they each wanted to start a spin-off show. Their names are Travis and Michael. They run a show called Kaiju Weekly. And they were some of the first podcasters that I started connecting with in the larger community. They were the first show to actually have me on as a guest. And so they each wanted to start a spinoff show, and they had a list of people that they were considering for co-hosts, and I was the one who said yes to both. So there you go.
All right.
All right, good deal. So I'm going to do something a little different. We've never done this before.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, okay.
I'm worried now because I don't know what you're doing.
Okay.
Yes,
Of course,
Jimmy,
that's gonna be the fun
I know
part.
you have prepared me well, of course.
Yeah, I'm going to be told Drew this. This is going to be fun.
Worried about this.
All right. So, Nathan, choose a.
Deedlet's kind of worried about this also.
Huh?
Deedlet's worried about this
Oh, okay.
also.
Okay. Well, it's going to be fun. All right, Nathan.
I'm glad you understand her because all I hear is old
I'm
8-bit
apparently-
video game.
I'm
sound effect.
apparently the only one who can understand her. And it's not that I understand her beeps. It's just, it translates in my head, but nobody else's. I don't get it.
Well, the funny thing is, and this is one of the things that makes it complicated. People in the studio, the KIJU studio on Monster Island, we can understand Jimmy, but nobody on the air can understand him. I'm telling you, man, you need to fix your microphone.
I don't know. It's kind of an I am Groot situation. After a while, you
Pretty
kinda
much.
know what he's
Yeah.
saying.
No,
without
no,
knowing
that's
Get the gist.
That's Jet Jaguar, because Jet will
that-
pop in
that's
on
true.
occasion, and I kind of understand Jet. I mostly rely on Jimmy to translate the Jet Jaguar speak. But anyway,
Right.
All right. So, Nathan, I need you to pick just one. Like, what is your favorite kaiju?
just actual favorite.
Your
kaiju.
favorite kaiju.
Problem is that there is an answer for that, but it's way too obvious, so I'm not going to go with the obvious, even though it's technically true.
Okay.
Is it the one that's above Jacob's head?
Yes.
So, Godzilla.
I'm not going to pick
Godzilla.
that one, nor am I
Okay.
going to pick any of the big 3.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fair,
I'm not.
that's fair.
So I'm going to skip all the obvious choices and go with Anguirus.
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 I have no idea what that character is.
He's an Ankylosaurus with a big spiky back.
Oh, okay. All right. So,
He's like the Godzilla equivalent of a giant Lego.
okay.
You step on it, it hurts your foot.
Ow. Okay.
He can roll up like an armadillo.
Ah, okay.
We wouldn't know anything about armadillos around here.
No. Definitely where we're from.
I
All right,
forget
so-
where are we again? Jimmy didn't tell me where
we're
we
in
were
East
going. You
Texas.
just sent him the coordinates and we came.
Yeah, this
He's
is
still,
we're-
I'm amazed we had space to park Uber Mogura at this point.
right. Honestly, in this apartment complex, I'm not surprised you had a hard time finding a place to park.
Yeah.
No, we are we're at Studio B, aka my apartment, and
We're in northern East Texas.
in northern East Texas.
Oh,
literally,
in Texas.
literally 2 hours away from Dallas, and I mean both the city and the host of Geek Devotions.
Pretty much.
No
You'll
matter which
you'll
direction
be
you go.
interested to know, fellas, that there is a guy who just started working on the island who is from Texas.
Is
Really?
there now?
Yes. He's in charge of public relations. His name is Darius R. Gold.
Okay. Then.
Okay.
Isn't that
Apparently,
like
he
the-
is a cowboy and a big game hunter, and he likes to brag.
Ah,
well,
okay.
I mean, don't all Texans?
That is true. That is a Texas trait.
Yes.
Either way. All right. So, Drew, knowing your love of Power Rangers are the Japanese equivalent. What is
Super Sentai?
Super Sentai? Thank you. What is your favorite Zord?
Are you asking me?
I'm
This is
asking
a
Drew.
mean question.
Yes.
This is a very mean question because the obvious is, of course, Dragon Zord.
Okay.
But I feel like I should be picking, like Nathan, I feel like I should be picking a different one.
Okay.
I just don't know what that would be right off the top of my head.
I can tell you what one of mine
Falcon
is.
Zord. I'll go Falcon Zord.
Falcon Zord.
Oh.
Oh, Falcon Zord. Interesting.
Oh, the other Zord that Tommy pilots. I got it.
I mean, technically, it. Anyway,
Anyways. All right.
Although
So
I've
I was
also
a kid
discovered that
when
there are several Falcon Zords, so you may have to specify.
There
I
are.
was a kid when Power Rangers was new. Deal with it.
The white Falcon
You know what
Zord.
that's called, Drew? Being old.
I'm aware. Believe me, when I saw that we were getting close to the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers, I felt very old.
Yes, Jimmy, I am savage tonight.
Oh, and I deserve every
Randy
bit of it.
Savage. Ooh, yeah.
Deep cut.
Anyway.
All right. So between all right, remind me again, Nathan, what was your choice?
Oh, for
Anguirus.
for favorite Zord?
No, for your
His-
kaiju.
Oh,
Kaiju was
Anguirus.
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 So against
Falcon Zord.
Falcon Zord. Okay. Who wins?
Oh, mother.
I have no clue.
No, this is Falcon Zord by itself, correct?
Yeah, it
No
would be- yeah,
combining
correct.
or anything?
It has no other help, I'm guessing.
Well, you can always call for help.
That's
I-
not fair.
That's not
Okay.
fair. That's
Okay,
an
no
entire
calling for help.
Megazord.
No calling for help
Okay.
then. It's
Falcon
you know,
Zord by itself, okay, it has the advantage of flight, it has the advantage of missiles,
uh-huh.
but it has been proven that Anguirus, his back, can take just about anything, and he's also capable of bouncing around and actually hitting things in midair. So depending on the altitude of Falcon Zord, it might have to go to Anguirus.
Ah. What do you think, Drew?
I'm actually going to go with this as well.
Okay.
Because all honesty, Dragon Zord would have had a chance.
Dragon Zord would win.
Dragon
Yeah,
Zord
Dragon
would
Zord
win,
would win.
for being honest. But
Yeah,
Falcon
Okay,
Zord,
Dragon Zord would.
no.
If it was Dragon Zord, it would win because Dragon Zord is basically Mechagodzilla, and Mechagodzilla almost killed Anguirus.
Yeah.
Very true. Very cool. So I just want to do something a little different, something we normally don't do. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, okay, that'd be a fun idea. It
Yes,
totally, you
that-
guys didn't know this.
Actually,
was
the
awesome.
guys, my friends at Kaiju Weekly, do something kind of like this. I call it Kaiju Clash, and they haven't done it in a while though.
Wow.
But
Okay.
usually the debate goes a heck of a lot longer because neither one of them want to concede.
I can see that. I can totally see that.
It's just
Here I am.
look-
I just make one argument, and Drew's like, "Yep, you're right." Oh, okay.
Well, in my defense, I'm looking at it and thinking, okay, yeah, he's got the missiles, sure. The only other thing he might be able to do is maybe grab Anguirus by the tail if he's got enough speed, and maybe get him up to, I don't know, up high, and then drop him from a large distance.
Anguirus has survived that.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I thought, yeah, that wouldn't be a good idea either.
So Falcon Zord just became a
It's
snack.
low enough. Anguirus could jump around, curl up into a ball, and actually get enough momentum to hit him. Because unfortunately, you know, I don't know how good Tommy's piloting skills are, but for some odd reason, fighter pilots love to fly low enough that a kaiju can literally smack them out of the air. I don't understand this tactic. So
I don't either.
Me either. All right. So getting back to the interrogation as we were before.
no.
All right. So
Let's say, how many questions did you have tonight?
oh, just 4.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. So what was
There
the
are 5 lights.
No, there are 4 lights.
4 lights.
all right. So what was the first animated movie you saw in theaters, Nathan?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh, nice
Good,
one.
that's good. That's good.
That is solid.
I still wish I'd seen that one in theaters.
It was a bit terrifying. Let me.
Yeah,
tell
I
you.
can
imagine it
imagine.
was.
I can imagine. Oh my gosh.
I still say that scene where they dipped the animated shoe in the goo.
Oh my gosh,
one
that
of
was
the scariest
terrifying as a
things
kid.
Ever put on television, on movies, on film.
That was nuts.
But anyway,
All right. So, oh my gosh, that been amazing to watch. How old were you when you watched that in theaters?
Me?
Yeah.
Way too young.
What's you like? Okay, fair enough. Okay, my first remembered experience in theaters was watching The Land Before Time.
Oh, good grief!
I was probably like 4 years old.
That's
Oh
a
my
different. That
gosh.
movie is a different kind of intense.
Yeah, agreed.
and here I am going, yeah, my first movie in the theaters was The Muppet Christmas Carol. Which really, when you get to the future stuff,
That is a
could have
good
been very
movie.
creepy.
We reviewed, I think at this point, we reviewed all three
Well,
of those
we
films
reviewed
already.
all three of these films already.
Yeah, so go check them out in our archives. So, last little bit of an interrogation trivia, whatever you want to call this segment. So, Nathan, you are trapped on Monster Island like you normally are, apparently.
Oh, there's
So-
a lot on Monster Island. I'm just
That
telling
is
you.
true.
Yeah.
There's a
So-
resort. There's a scientific facility. Plenty of kaiju, library, all kind of things there.
All right, so let's use the hypothetical that one of the kaiju got like loose and started destroying everything. You had to hide in a bunker until
no.
this.
I said, "Oh no!"
Yeah. So if you had one animated series to withstand the barrage of whatever kaiju is trying to destroy the island and try to eat you like a snack, what animated series is that going to be?
Oh, why would you do this to me? Because I have I'm like, do I want nostalgia? Do I want really good stuff? Do I want anime? Do I want Western animation? I can't decide. Twist my arm.
You must
to my
choose.
world.
No, twist my arm. This is a wrestling movie. Twist my arm now.
Pick one.
Twist.
Rurouni Kenshin.
Rurouni Kenshin. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Awesome. Well, now you have been released from your
Interrogation.
interrogation, and well, you survived.
Anyway,
Ugh.
I know we have news because I've seen the
Yes.
news today
Yes.
that dropped today. I'm not used to having news that dropped.
No,
day
that
of
was a
recording.
good surprise. All right.
So,
So
quickly, we don't have too much time.
all right.
Go through the news.
All right. So the news, Disney Pixar just released a new trailer and a new poster for their upcoming film Lightyear. It is set to go in theaters. There again, it is a Pixar film. Let's remind everybody.
Disney has not been kind to Pixar films since Onward, unfortunately.
That is true.
Oh, that makes me so angry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I love Pixar.
I'm turning red for turning red.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So it has a set theater release in air quotes for June 17th, 2022. It is based off the beloved, obviously, Toy Story universe, starring everyone's beloved Buzz Lightyear, voiced by, oddly enough, by Chris Evans.
Okay, did you hear any?
I
of
am
his-
110% behind this.
Yes.
And what's interesting, if you watch that trailer, you can hear a lot more of Buzz's lines this time.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like he's mixing Tim Allen with who was the voice in Buzz Lightyear Star Command, the TV show. He's Kronk in Emperor's New Groove. What is his name?
Oh,
Brad Garrett?
Brad
no,
Garrett. I thought it was Brad Garrett.
No, Brad Garrett was not Kronk.
Oh, okay.
David Warburton.
Dave Warburton.
Oh,
okay.
Patrick
Oh.
Warburton.
Patrick Warburton. Thank you.
My apologies. Patrick
Thank you.
Warburton. It sounds like he mixed both of those voices together to make his voice for this.
All right. So yes, so this is technically, they're getting air quotes, to reach theaters June 17th. So I'm hoping and praying this movie actually gets a theater release and doesn't go strictly to Disney Plus.
I am
Come on,
Wow.
Disney.
That's that release date's a few weeks before my birthday. Guess who's renting one of the Denim theaters back on Monster Island for this movie? This guy. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So apparently it is official. The final nominations across apparently 23 categories for the 94th and Academy Awards have been released. And so I wanted to go through real quick the best animated feature and just give you a rundown of who has been nominated. It has not been officially like who's won yet, not that I know of. I might be wrong.
Got like a month before
If
the
the
Academy
wi-
Awards.
If they, I was going to say if the winners had been announced, we would know.
Yeah.
That is true. So either way,
The internet's already annoyed at who's on the list for all of the Academy Awards.
Very
no
true.
one's won
Is
yet.
it everybody?
Also needs to be reminded that the Academy Awards don't mean nearly as much as they want you to think they do.
oh, completely agree.
Because I personally don't care.
Yeah. But either way, so I just wanted to give our audience a little snippet of what's going on. So best animated feature, obviously, Encanto.
Encanto actually had a lot of different nominations.
Agreed. It has a ton of nominations this year.
And
To
some degree, I agree with them.
all right. So a movie called Flea. I've never heard of this film. Luca. We did a reaction to Luca.
We have not done a full review of
We have not
Luca
done a
yet.
review.
It was good. You got to get your token Pixar in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've mentioned a Disney and a Pixar, and there's
Mhm.
another Disney on there because
Yes,
Raya
there
and the
are.
Last Dragon's on there.
Yes, that is true. The Mitchells versus the Machines, which we did a reaction
Yeah,
to.
we reacted on that one.
Yes, and it's finally going to theaters.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I was just saying that. Be like, it was great watching it, but now it's going to theaters. Okay,
I'm
what
sorry,
you put
I'm-
Pixar films back in theaters?
Yeah, put all 3 Pixar films back in theaters. Heck, put Onward back in theaters. It didn't get to stay in theaters enough.
That is true. But finally and foremost, like Drew said before, Raya and the Last Dragon is the up for the category of best animated film. Now, curious of the films you have watched, Drew. What do
Raya
you
and the Last Dragon.
okay,
That's the one that should win because that's still my favorite of everything that's on the list.
I completely agree.
I have one very important question.
What's that?
Why is Belle not on this list?
That is a very,
Good,
very good question. I wish I'd seen Belle, but it wasn't showing anywhere around here.
I did see Belle. It played on the island. It's
Uh,
fantastic.
Oh,
I-
okay.
Make you cry good.
I
Why
am
is it not
stinking
nominated?
jealous.
Is it because it was released in January?
I think
Maybe?
so, because it was released in January in Japan, wasn't it? That would technically put it on the next year, which means it'll be forgotten about because
That is
so
true.
many good films that are released in January that they forget about.
That is so true. All right, so that is all I have for in the news.
Anyway, yes. Which means we need to get into our spoiler-free review, finally, of
Yes.
the movie Rumble. And since, Nate, you are our guest, you get to go first. What are your spoiler-free thoughts on Rumble?
So, I went into this not 100% sure what to expect. I knew it was going to be about kaiju and pro wrestling,
Mhm.
which sounded like a good mix. I'm okay with this mix. And spoiler-free thoughts, I was a little surprised to see what studios were involved with this. I should have known it would have been a WWE Films production,
Yeah.
but I was also surprised to find out that Walden Media had a hand in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And despite all of my talk about kaiju, something that I also really love is C.S. Lewis, and I liked Walden Media's Narnia movies for the most part. So, and I even
Like
got
most
to
of
interview.
them.
I even got to interview the head of the studio at one point. for a
Oh, nice.
previous job. So
Nice.
I was like, "Oh, you guys are involved in this too." But I will admit to you, spoiler free, I have been way, way, way too spoiled by the likes of Pixar. So now basically any other animated movie, particularly something like this, if it comes around, if it's nowhere close to Pixar, I feel a little bit disappointed, and I kind of had a little bit of that today.
Okay.
I can
Alrighty.
understand that.
Yep.
Jacob, your spoiler-free thoughts?
My spoiler-free thoughts on Rumble. I thought it was a pretty good film. Be like, it's got its problems. It's got some glaring problems, which we'll get to in the dislikes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I mean, like animation wise, it was pretty good. It kind of reminded me of like an early 2000s, the CG when CG became Disney's go-to style of animation. It's in some regards. Be like nowhere near be like, yeah, I would definitely say the early aughts of animation for Disney, kind of that same style in a way, because it in a way it looked like a Disney film, but it didn't have the feel of a Disney film.
Yeah.
But there again, not comparing these films to like Tangled, because Tangled, I love Tangled to death. For our listeners, know I love Tangled.
No,
no.
really?
Yeah, this is a Paramount Animation, which I
Yes.
don't know how many movies they've actually made. So I thought
3.
at first it was DreamWorks, and it's not.
No. They Paramount Animation has had, this is their third animated, their third film.
Uh-huh.
The other 2 were the most recent SpongeBob SquarePants movies.
That makes
Oh.
sense. That makes
Okay.
sense.
Sponge on the Run and what was it? Sponge Out of Water was the name of the
Yeah.
other one? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
Sponge Out of Water.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sponge
yeah.
Out of Water and Sponge on the Run. I had it here. I don't know why I didn't read it off my notes.
There are parts of this film I really enjoyed, and the other parts is more like, okay, you're really getting on my nerves about this one issue, and it's bugging the crap out of me. So yeah, we will get to that when we get to there.
Yeah.
Like we used to say in a former podcast we were part of.
Yes.
So yeah, be like, if you like wrestling, it might be up your alley.
That's the other thing. This is a bit more wrestling than it is kaiju.
Agreed.
Okay, so jumping in on that, let me give my spoiler-free thought right quick.
Go for it.
Because this movie, I feel, at least for me, suffered from what I call the cola conundrum. You know, when someone hands you a glass, like a red Solo cup, and it's obviously filled with a soda, you look at it, I look at it and think, oh, someone's nice and giving me a Coke. But then I take a drink and it's Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper's not bad. But when
I'm glad I am not alone in my disdain for Dr. Pepper.
No, here's the thing. I will
Oh, shut up, Jimmy. I don't care if you like it.
Dr. Pepper for me is like, if I will drink Dr. Pepper long before I'll drink Pepsi. I would Dr. Pepper is at least, if I go to a place that's a Pepsi restaurant, I can at least drink a Dr. Pepper, or I'll just drink water because that's healthier. But like I said, I really have no problem with either one, but I assume because Coke is my favorite that someone's handing me a glass with bubbling brown liquid that it must be a Coke. But I take a drink and it's a little sweet because it's Dr. Pepper. And that's kind of what this movie is. I was going in expecting, I was expecting the wrestling and I was expecting the kaiju. I was just expecting it to be a little bit more balanced in that and not just be a wrestling movie that happened to star kaiju.
True.
Ish monsters. But yeah.
None of those come on. By the way, none of those kaiju are on the island, although they occasionally come and perform.
I did not know y'all had a ring there.
Huh.
We have a lot of things on the island.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
I think that means we need to hit our intermission right quick. So join us on the other side of the bumpers, and we will get to spoiling this thing. And I did not know that this had come unplugged again.
Hello, patrons.
Yeah, get it out now.
Enjoy this while you can, chat. This is going to be one of the rare instances where I go on a podcast and break the kayfabe.
Okay.
You guys don't know what kayfabe is?
No.
Can't say I've heard of it.
It's actually a pro wrestling term. You know how wrestlers are wrestlers. Well, it was a bigger deal up until about the early 90s, but the kayfabe was the term used for how wrestlers would never break character. If they were out in public, they were their character.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay, I'm gonna go
But
ahead.
then after the 90s, when some of them broke some kayfabe right after a show and audience members actually saw them doing it, a couple of them got in trouble, and then it became less of a deal after that. So generally speaking, when I go on other people's podcasts, since I basically play a character of myself on the podcast. I don't break kayfabe unless otherwise told. And so, yeah, enjoy it while you can, chat.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and play the bumper right quick. Don't forget that you can download. Don't forget that you can. Don't forget that you can listen to us record the podcast live every Tuesday over on our Facebook page, The Cellcast, our Twitch channel, The Cellcast Gaming, and on YouTube at Cellcast. Also, don't forget to join our Patreon if you would like to support us monetarily. At $1, you'll get our everlasting thanks. At our $5 tier, you can get some artwork from Jacob. And on our $10 tier, you can get bloopers for every episode we've released that I've remembered to release them for. And you can get commentaries from different movies. So come check us out over there if you would like to support us financially. Each week on Stunning and Brave, hosts Chris Cowan of the Babylon Bee and Nate Henderson of Some Boring Budgeting Job confess their privilege, spotlight stunning social media posts, and fabricate outrage, all while keeping you super woke and enlightened. They will make you laugh. That's right, you have no choice. Check out Stunning and Brave at stunningandbrave.net. Do you like Star Wars? I don't just mean the original trilogy. Along with that, I mean the prequels, the sequels, the anthologies, the animated shows, and of course, who doesn't like Baby Yoda? Well, if you've been in the fandom for any length of time, you know how toxic the fandom can get. And if you'd like to be able to discuss a galaxy far, far away in a much more positive light, might I suggest searching out The Outer Rim, a Facebook group dedicated to all of Star Wars, and check out their YouTube channel, which you can easily find at Pop Americana, which the podcast you're currently listening to is also a part of. To find that and more, check out the link in the description. All right. Do you need to take a break, use the bathroom, or anything?
Oh, okay. We aren't back on the show yet. Anyway,
Well, I mean, we can be.
I was going to
but-
pull a well actually on you, but anyway.
We can be, but I'm just offering if you need to go use the restroom, now's the time.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. So I am ready to come back if you're ready to come back.
All right, sure.
Okay. You can go ahead and play whatever you're doing with Jimmy.
All right. Jimmy makes a good point. It's Grogu, not Baby Yoda.
I recorded that, I think, after actually that had been announced, but I was trying to be nice at the time and not spoil anything for certain people who have not yet caught up, who are still a year behind to this very day.
Guilty.
Let me tell you, you want to get on my intrepid producer's bad side like that, talk about the prequels.
I try not to. The closest I get is the Clone Wars TV show.
He's okay with the Clone Wars TV show, but do not speak to him of the movies.
Ah.
Don't look at me. I think Jar Jar Binks should have been shot out of a cannon a long time ago.
Oh, what was that again, Jimmy? He's talking to you, Drew. Oh, look, a train.
Yeah, I'm not a stone's throw away from a train. I kind of gave up keeping it out. I don't even know how to respond to Jimmy. I forget. I can actually understand him. Hello, patrons.
Have fun editing this.
Oh, I always do. In fact, easy way to find this later. Okay. Jimmy, I'm glad to see we agree. I see you're a man of culture as well.
Ah, yes. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Star Wars.
No. In fact, I need to give the spoiler warning before we can jump into Rumble. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Rumble. Listener discretion is advised. And I should have my notes up. I'm keeping this in, by the way. All right. Rumble was written and directed by Hamish Grieve, whose only other directorial thing he's done was a 7-minute short called Hello Charles. So this is technically his, or if this had made it to theaters, it would have been his theatrical movie debut.
Rah.
But he was
I
also-
remember that hot minute when it was supposed to be a theatrical film.
Yeah, we'll get
Yes. But he also worked in the animation department for another movie involving monsters and aliens.
there. Really?
Monsters versus Aliens.
Oh, yes, the
Oh.
DreamWorks film.
Yes.
Yeah, that wonderful movie.
Yes. We had opinions on that
Yes.
episode.
Go listen to that episode whenever you get a chance.
Yes. This was also written by Matt Lieberman, who wrote Scoob.
Ray.
This was based on the graphic novel Monster on the Hill by Rob Harrell.
Huh.
Really? This
Yes.
is a comic book movie?
This is based on a comic. This is a comic book movie.
Wow.
I have yet to be. I hadn't had a chance to go find it since I found that out. So that's
My
on
mind is blown.
This is on my to-do list.
Wow. Okay.
All right, getting into the cast, we got, and I'm going to apologize on some of these names. I'm just going to say right now because this first one, Geraldine Viswanathan. I'm fairly certain I just messed up, but anyway, she played Winnie, and in
The
something.
Pooh.
Do what?
I said the poo.
Yes, the Pooh. And in something called Emo the Musical, she played a character named Jamali. Literally, that was the only interesting thing I saw on her list that I recognized. I didn't recognize it because I did nothing on her list I recognized. But I see something called Emo the Musical. Kind of gonna bring it up.
Yeah. Just a little. Yeah.
Will Arnett is the voice of Rayburn Jr.
Uh-huh.
And he is, of course, I at least mostly know him for playing Lego Batman on the Lego movies series.
Black screen. All important movies start with a black screen.
DC, the house that Batman built.
Best line in the movie.
Exactly. Okay.
First try.
Yeah. Stephen A. Smith was the voice of Mark Remy, one of the announcers. And he is actually an announcer for ESPN. But he also had a very long running role on General Hospital as someone named Brick.
Okay, so I do have to tell a story really, really fast with that.
I had a feeling.
Of course, I got a story about everything. So my mom had a Chihuahua. They like had 2 little Chihuahuas, but the bigger
Yo
one.
quiero Taco Bell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Nibbles was his name.
I think I need a bigger box.
So Nibbles was he was my dog. I love that little dog death.
Right.
Unfortunately passed away. But so Nibbles apparently liked the General Hospital theme.
Oh.
Like loved the theme. So whenever be like mom be watching the intro, Nibbles would howl. He would "Arr, arr." It was hysterical. Oh my gosh. I think I've got to record it on Facebook somewhere, but it's just so much. I think it's like the jazzy, like Out at Jazz or something like that. It was so funny.
Well, here you go. We were talking about this before going on the air. We can connect these.
Yes.
Didn't we establish that professional wrestling is just soap operas and
Exactly.
spandex for guys?
Pretty
Exactly.
much.
Pretty much.
All right. We also got
Continue.
Terry Crews, who we mentioned earlier. He is the voice of Tentacular,
Mm-hmm.
and he replaced Mr. T as Earl Davro in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, as Mr. T
Yeah.
played him in 1.
Mr. T.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Terry
peekaboo.
Crews has been in a lot of things.
Yeah, he especially Old Spice commercials.
Oh my gosh. That guy is
Look
a
at me.
beast.
Now, now look at your woman. Now look at me. Who's looking at your woman?
Yes. Jimmy Tatro was the voice of Lights Out.
No, not you, Jimmy. Oh.
Wrong Jimmy.
Wrong Jimmy. Jimmy Tatro was the voice of Lights Out McGinty. He played a character named Rooster in 22 Jump Street, but apparently he's also a comedian on YouTube.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Tony Shalhoub.
Oh,
Was-
that guy.
Yeah, he played Fred, who was the diner owner.
Oh. Huh.
Ah.
He played, of course, Fred Kwan in Galaxy Quest. Splinter in Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Adrian Monk in Monk. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
yeah,
I don't
that's-
see Tony Shalhoub as Splinter.
There's
And
a
that-
lot of things about the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movies that don't make sense.
Yes,
That is true.
I agree with
At
that.
least the second one was better than the first. Let's just say that.
That wouldn't take much.
Still better than Ninja Turtles 3.
True.
Okay, I'll take your word for it because it's been a long time. Susan Kalechi Watson was the voice of Maggie, which played Winnie's mom. And in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, she played Andrea Vogel.
Oh, okay.
Tony Danza was the voice of Siggy, Tentacular's coach. And of course, he played Tony Banta in the television show Taxi.
Well, there's one very, very important role.
Exactly.
No, I'm thinking of somebody else. Never mind.
Okay. Why did you have one?
No, I'm thinking of the big show he did in the 80s. That was
Taxi.
no, he was in Taxi, yes. Are we talking about the same guy, Tony Danza?
Tony Danza, yes.
Oh, okay.
This is
Hello,
why I kept my
patrons.
mouth shut, Jacob.
Huh?
This is why I kept my mouth shut.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
Oh, who's the boss, maybe?
Thank you.
You can thank Josh, who's just keyed that in from Rhyme City, apparently.
Thank you, Josh. Saving my bacon.
He only thought he wasn't going to be able to help tonight. Of course, this had nothing to do with wrestling. So,
He's already trying to drop some wrestling facts in the chat.
yes.
Yes, I
he
know.
has been.
Mr. T has some wrestling connections. I've seen his matches.
I've no doubt. Bridget Everett was the voice of Lady Mayhem.
Mayhem.
No, Mayhem.
Mayhem? Not mayhem.
Mayhem, as in the
Oh.
female version of a chicken.
Got it.
I double
Read that
checked it.
completely wrong.
I double checked this because I wanted to make sure. And I just lost my spot. Okay, there it is. She played drunk party girl in Sex and the City. Is literally the only other thing I saw. on
Wow. Okay.
Is this was this a recurring character?
there. I think this was in one of the movies.
Okay.
She had to have been an extra.
I
I'm
guess she's
guessing.
moving up in the world.
Maybe. Fred Malamed was the voice of the mayor, and he played Arthur Hart and Todd Davis in WandaVision.
Oh.
Michael Buffer was the announcer in Stoker, and he is apparently a ring announcer in just about everything. If you've heard someone,
Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah, that's him.
He's
he
that
says
guy.
that in like
Yeah.
everything.
Yes.
That's because that's his catchphrase.
Exactly.
Obviously.
That's his bread and butter.
Ben Schwartz was the voice of Jimothy Brett Chadley III. If you can't tell, that's the spoiled rich kid who bought Tentacular.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh,
that
the guy
guy.
who was addicted to both Twitter and TikTok, the two most deadly cesspools on the internet. Got it.
True.
and Reddit may be worse. He is the voice of Sonic in Sonic the Hedgehog.
What?
Yeah, that was Sonic
Wow. Okay.
in the new Sonic in the live action Sonic the Hedgehog movie that came out 2 years ago, and the sequel that's coming out this year.
The last pre-COVID movie.
No, that was Onward. Onward was the last pre-COVID movie.
The last movie that was allowed to be a hit before COVID.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Because it was going at the time, it was going up against Birds of Prey, and the long name that came out to Harley Quinn.
Birds of Prey. I
Yeah.
have opinions.
Yeah.
We all do.
We all do.
You could go find out those opinions if you listen to that episode of Movie of the Week podcast, because we did review that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, we won't. It's worse. I was sitting next to my mom when I watched that movie.
Oh, good Lord.
Yes.
Why? Why?
Because
you need
it was
to question all of your life decisions because of that.
Oh, there is a movie that's worse than that, but we won't go there right now. Brian Baumgartner was the voice of Clonk, one of the other monsters he fought. And actually, it's the one he's fighting there in the warehouse there at the beginning. The flat fight is obviously fixed. He was Kevin Malone in The Office.
Oh, okay.
Rebecca Quinn was the voice of Axe Hammer. And this is our first WWE person. She is Becky Lynch.
Becky
Oh.
Lynch. Yes.
Bro.
Joe, and I'm going to mess this name up, Anoa'i was the voice of Ramarilla, and he is Roman Reigns in the WWE.
Bro.
Roman Reigns. Yep.
Gotcha.
Who is one of several cousins of The Rock, who has been in wrestling.
Yes.
Can
that
you
was,
smell it?
and that's actually the last one I listed because honestly, nothing else, none of the other people stood out. But I do have Fred Tatasciore, who was the referee, who both Jacob and me both know as Lieutenant Shax in Star Trek Lower Decks, aka tell the prof when you get to hell, tell the prof. I can't even. I screwed up the line. When you get to hell, tell them Shaq sent you. Special delivery from Bajor. That's the line. That's the line. Anyway, moving on.
All right.
If you've not seen Lower Decks, you should. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
I'm scared of Lower Decks.
I
was too. I was
and
skeptical
he's
about
not the
it.
Star Trek fan. I was scared because I was afraid since I saw who was making it, and I thought this cannot be good. And I have it on Blu-ray over here. I enjoyed it so much.
Well, to be fair, I'm not I grew up watching the movies, so I love the movies. I wasn't a huge fan of the TV series.
which made the 9th episode of that especially good for you because it was making fun of all the movies.
Very true.
Anyway, just a couple more here and we'll finish and we can move on. Carlos Gomez was the voice of Jimbo Coyle, and he played a character named Rafael Garcia in something called The Baker and the Beauty that was on ABC that kind of looked like a Hallmark movie. Charles Barkley, of all people, played Rayburn
What?
Sr.
Wait,
What?
what?
Yeah. The Charles Barkley.
Really?
Yes. He, of course, appeared as himself in Space Jam.
That is true. Legendary NBA star.
Yes. And Chris Eubank was the voice of King Gorge, and he is a British professional boxer.
Really?
Oh, very
Cool.
appropriate.
I had to Google that one to find that out. Quickly going through the Kingdom
I'm
Hearts
going to
connections.
beat Josh to this. That character was one of the pro wrestling references.
All right.
Ah.
Going through the Kingdom Hearts connections real quick, we got John DiMaggio, who was the betting guy and
Yeah,
tattoo
you guys
guy.
have like a 6 degrees of Kingdom Hearts or something on this show.
It started as a joke,
Literally.
and we've been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't believe how many people are in Kingdom Hearts that are in other things.
Yeah. The connection is real.
Now I have come across some stuff that's like, okay, yeah, I don't have anything, but
And then it got connected with Smash Brothers. Ever since Sora got thrown into
does
Smash
that
Brothers.
not make Smash Brothers a Kingdom Hearts game now? It makes about as much sense as some of the other Kingdom Hearts games.
Smash
this-
Brothers is the most nerdtastic video game ever because every franchise is in it.
Right.
True.
But to be fair, there were actually a lot of a lot of Kingdom Hearts connections in this, and I cut him down.
All right.
So John DiMaggio, who played the betting guy and tattoo guy, who most people know as Bender Bending Rodriguez on Futurama, he played Jacoby the Zombie Pirate in Kingdom Hearts 2 on the Pirates of the Caribbean level. And ironically, I think he's Waka in Final Fantasy X, even though he doesn't voice Waka in Kingdom Hearts, which is just strange.
Mm.
Susie Stevens Logan played a character named Andrina in Kingdom Hearts 2 through what do you call that? Reuse audio?
Yeah.
Archive audio.
Archive.
Because she was the voice of Andrina in The Little Mermaid. One of Ariel's sisters
Oh, okay.
in that song.
Interesting.
Yeah. Phil Lamar was a security guard, and he was Phobos in Kingdom Hearts, which I don't remember who that was. I didn't have time to look it up. But Fred Tatasciore, who was the ref, he is both the voice of Kevin Flynn and Clue in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
Ah.
No, Dream Drop Distance.
Fred
because it's newer
Tatasciore
versions.
is in everything.
Yes, he's
True.
almost as bad as Frank Welker.
Except most of the time he just plays the Hulk.
That's true.
True.
Maybe that's why they had him voice Shax. Anyway, that brings me to the end of that first part of mine. What do you got in info and stuff?
All right. So info and stuff. We have a score on IMDb of 5.9 out of 10.
Mhm.
You are able to watch it on Paramount Plus or Prime Video if you have the
If you have
are
the Paramount
subscribed-
Plus channel.
Yeah, which is exactly.
All right,
All right,
let me tell
production.
you, I watched it on my way here, and Paramount Plus on the PS4 is absolutely broken and stupid.
Okay.
And
I have no doubt.
Yeah, but I was able to watch it on Amazon Prime with one click of a button.
There we go.
And like you said on the chat when we talked earlier today, the moral of this story: use Amazon.
All right.
If you have
so-
Paramount Plus on your PlayStation 4, just uninstall it. It's useless.
I didn't even try. So
well, thank the Lord, I updated to a PS5. Or
no, you
P-
didn't.
It's
No, I
probably
my
broken on
PS4.
there
I-
too.
never mind. I bought it on PS4. I'd be like,
And I guarantee.
never
you,
mind.
And you did that because I got a PS5, and I'm fairly
That
certain
is
it would be
true.
broken
Well, never
also.
mind. I updated from a PS3 to a PS4.
But you don't play games. You're just using it for the Blu-ray player.
Hey,
Or the
Drew,
streaming service.
send me your gamer tag after the stream.
Okay, I won't do you much good. All I play is Final Fantasy 14 at this point.
I'll just still
All
just
right.
add you to my friends list. Then I'll send you obnoxious messages randomly.
Okay.
All right. So in production. All right. It was produced by Paramount Plus, the WWE Studios.
This was the first WWE movie I've watched, by the way.
Yeah.
Just
There's
throwing
quite
that
a
out
few
there.
out there.
That's impressive.
All right. Walden Media. Real FX Animation Studios. It was distributed by, originally it was supposed to be distributed by Paramount, but
What?
It
It was
was-
distributed by Paramount, just not theatrically.
yeah, not theatrically, but it was distributed on Paramount Plus. All right, so
Or for the
release
people who
date.
could actually watch it, Amazon.
True.
Yeah, Paramount Plus, the streaming service that exists just to make Trekkies pay out the nose to watch Star Trek.
I will not say a word, considering I'm caught up on Star Trek right now.
All right, so release date. So let's go back to the year 2020.
Let's not.
Yeah, let's not. But for the sake of this review, let's go back 2 years.
COVID happened. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Really?
All right.
This movie was made 2 years. It was supposed to be released 2 years ago. I forgot
Yes,
all
actually
about
was.
that.
All right. So
This is one of the casualties of COVID.
that is true. So on September 19th, 2019, the film was scheduled to be released on July 31st, 2020.
That didn't happen.
On November 12th, 2019, the date was pushed to January 29th, 2021. On October 27th, 2020, the release date was moved yet again to May 14th, 2021, and yet moved again to January 27th, 2021 to February 18th, 2022 as a result of the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you, COVID.
Good night. Godzilla
And-
versus Kong didn't have this much trouble.
Oh,
you
it's
beat
still
me
coming.
to it. You beat me to it. I was about to say, and I thought Godzilla versus Kong had it bad. Do you realize how many times I had to change my podcast schedule because of that?
I really do feel for you. I
Oh
really do
my
feel
gosh.
for you.
And I'm not
it's
done.
just-
I'm not quite done yet, so hang on there. All right, so
Oh, snap.
on November, okay, it gets one more move. That's it. Okay, so on November 26th, 2021, the movie made its final move to December 15th, 2021,
Day after my birthday.
exactly, as a Paramount Plus exclusive, canceling its theatrical release altogether.
Which is completely wrong. They shouldn't have done it. That's my opinion on any movie that got kicked out of theaters.
I agree.
Even the movies I don't like.
Yep. So that is
Yeah,
all I
I'm
have.
with you there.
Yeah, exactly. So that is all I am for info and stuff.
Yes, that does mean I wish Trolls 2 had gone to theaters.
It did later on, but
Not after Universal stuck their foot up their mouth by saying you're going to release all our movies this straight to video from now on, which they didn't do.
no, they didn't.
But they claimed that's what they were going
Yep.
to do
But either way,
because of the success of Trolls 2 on home video.
so if
in
you do have
2020.
if you do have a chance,
So what you're
if-
saying is Trolls 2 destroyed theaters, Godzilla vs. Kong saved theaters. Support
Yes.
Godzilla vs. Kong.
Always support Godzilla versus Kong. I just realized I'm wearing the wrong shirt. I have a Godzilla versus Kong t-shirt that says,
it's
why
appropriate.
can't we be friends?
Exactly.
And yeah, I'm wearing the Tyrannosaurus.
Hey,
Which I
being
love
able-
that shirt. I actually love it.
Speaking as someone who was in a giant robot and tried to get in between Godzilla and Kong to save my intrepid producer, I know how that goes.
I bet you do.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, that's
So I was curious if there would be a sequel. There is no sequel slate anywhere.
oh, I hope
but-
not.
You never know. WWE Studios might be like, hey, let's do a second one.
Well, it worked for Adam's Family.
That is true. Well, Adam's
'Cause the
Family
sequel
2
was
was
better.
actually better than the
Oh wait,
first
that's
one.
what I
wait,
mean.
wait, and I've already got a title for you. It's Ready to Rumble.
Yes, that actually would be a very
That
good
would
title.
be a very, very good title.
I think that was the name of a Dreamcast game, actually, too.
Yeah, actually, a couple of them. They were boxing games.
Yes.
Oh wow. So yes, that is all I have for info and stuff.
All right, I'm going to quickly go through the summary of this movie for the people who want to be spoiled but haven't seen it yet. In a world where giant monsters and humans coexist, monsters compete in a popular professional wrestling global sport known as Monster Wrestling, with each city having its own monster wrestler. After the current wrestler for the small town of Stoker, the shark-like Tentacular becomes the new world champion. He, as a jerk, then announces he is no longer going to represent Stoker. The townspeople are later told if they do not find a new wrestler, they will lose their town stadium and its revenue, which prompts wrestling enthusiast Winnie Coyle to search for a new monster representative for her town. Winnie heads to an underground fight and finds the son of the famous late Stoker champion Rayburn fighting under the name Steve. Winnie interferes in the match and causes Steve to win instead of taking a dive, as the underground arena employer wanted. Steve is confronted by his employer and threatened unless he can get them. Sorry. I got too carried away. Steve is confronted by his employer and threatened unless he can get the owner back the money she just lost. Winnie tells Steve she can help him get the money by training him to fight Tentacular. Realizing he has no other way to make the money, Steve agrees to be trained. Steve initially is uninterested in learning how to fight properly and wins his first match by evading his opponent. Steve later tells Winnie he left Stoker because everyone saw him as an extension of his father and could not live up to his name. Winnie learns Steve loves dancing and decides to train him using dance moves. As they progress up the league's rankings, Tentacular announces he and his agent have bought Stoker Stadium and wants to demolish it, as Tentacular sees it as a reminder that he will always be compared to Rayburn. Even though Steve manages to repay his underground arena employer, he decides to help Winnie, reveals his identity to Rayburn Jr., and challenges Tentacular to a match for the stadium. During the fight, Steve avoids most of the hits by Tentacular in the first round, but Tentacular counters his dance moves in the second round. In the third round, Steve brings the fight and is able to not only use dance but land several hits. Winnie tells Steve to use Tentacular suckers to stick him to one of the corner posts. When Steve goes in for the final move, he and Tentacular collide and are both knocked out in a move I'm fairly certain I saw in Dragon Ball. Tentacular gets up first, but is too rattled to end the match. The crowd gets Steve back up by clapping a salsa beat, and he is finally able to defeat Tentacular and save the stadium. Going into
And there was much rejoicing.
pretty much. I think I've mentioned the other two trivia things I have. So the third one is during the title fight, posters for a company called Kaiju Limited can actually be seen in the background because
Huh.
that was an original joke.
Hey, the
So-
fact that they actually use the word kaiju several times in this made me happy.
Yes. The only other
It just
people
goes
brave
to
enough
show
to do
you-
that have been oh crud, now I'm losing nerd points again. What is the name of that movie? Pacific Rim.
Pacific
The only
Rim,
other movie
yes.
that's been brave enough to call him kaiju.
There've been a few other times it's popped up. I'm just happy because I feel like that word has finally gone mainstream. It's about dang time.
Yeah. Anyway, Nathan, since you are our guest, you get to go first. What is your
Yes.
first like for this movie now that we are finally getting to the review portion?
Well, you know what? Oh. One of the things that I actually appreciate in this is the world that's being built in this. There's some nice little details here showing how kaiju and humans interact with each other. I like the hover bikes that they have to fly around, the humans have to fly around on so they can actually make eye contact and be eye level with the monsters. And how they construct the gigantic buildings for the kaiju, and then the humans have to find ways to kind of work their way around it. And
yet the
had a
kaiju still
ring.
have to walk down the road to get to get between towns.
Yeah, and then they had they literally built a ring for the wrestling out of cargo tanks, which was just that was pretty
clever.
cool.
That was good.
It was clever. It was clever. I got to give them that. Good world building there, movie.
Yeah, the logistics of this movie is also my first like, because there's just the way they go about explaining how these battles can take place, especially like you said with the bikes and the training facility where he's actually lifting locomotives. Like we didn't hear that earlier in the podcast. Up to do the weightlifting and all that stuff. I thought that was interesting. I also liked when he's opens his locker to there at the thing, and when he walks like through a small door so she can talk to him in his locker. It's like, you know what?
Yes.
That I think that might be considered an invasion of privacy, but can you really have privacy when you're a 30-foot tall monster? 300-foot tall monster?
Well, and see, and that's the interesting thing is it takes a lot of things that we know from everyday life and then makes them gigantic. And then kind of recontextualizes them further by saying, oh, these are for giants. And then here's how the humans have to interact with it.
Yeah, one of the things I just love is how the logistics in this thing are so well done. I don't even think about the logistics half the time throughout the movie. And I appreciate that because there's so many times I've seen a movie where they have ignored basic world building and such on some of this stuff because it's less like, well, they weren't thinking about it. It takes me out of the movie. And I'm glad I didn't have to worry about that on this one. I had other things that took me out of the movie, but we'll get to those later.
Exactly.
Jacob, your first like?
My first like is the exact same sentiment with you two. It's like it's world building. It's setting up the world, telling us the prehistory before the monster wrestling. And I really enjoyed the texture of everything, how they applied how the monsters and the humans came to coexist, and like monster wrestling was born. I found it very fascinating. Like you said,
the backstory in the beginning of this made me think a lot of Pacific Rim.
Yes,
but it wasn't nearly as apocalyptic.
Very true. It's the idea, why can't we be friends? Be like, well, we can be friends. We can just, use each other's resources.
Yes.
So
yes, we will wrestle and you will be entertained.
Exactly.
I was going to say,
I mean, that's every day on Monster Island. I'm just saying.
But yeah, the world building in this movie is absolutely incredible because they think of almost everything. When it regards to its world building, its layouts and setups and everything. I found this very fascinating world building, and it was just incredible. So yeah, that's my number one is world building. Like the rest of you is world building.
Right. What is your second like, Nathan? Nate?
It's a little bit obvious, but I'm going to go with the monster designs. I was actually pretty impressed, particularly with Tentacular. I love how he has
that was good.
I like how he had all those tentacle arms, and then he would put them together to make regular arms, and then he would flex them, show off his 37-inch pythons, or it's more like 37-foot pythons. But
yeah, and the fact that he would light up like a glow stick.
Yes,
when he would do that.
Yeah. I will admit I felt like a lot of the other kaiju designs were a little less creative compared to that, but I still liked them overall.
Yeah.
Steve or Rayburn Jr., whatever you want to call him, was relatively simple by comparison, but I think it was meant to be, and I'm okay
Yeah.
with that.
I suspect Rayburn Jr. was the first monster that was designed for this, and he is probably based on the character in the graphic novel. And everyone else is kind of built off of that look, especially his father, who's supposed to look like a more buffer version of him.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help but wonder if Rayburn, at least his name, was inspired at least a tiny bit by Rey Mysterio, because there's Rey Mysterio and Rey Mysterio Jr. He's
be
Rayburn, and then in this it's Rayburn and Rayburn Jr. I'm probably completely off on that, but it was a thought that occurred to me.
You know what you would know better than I would.
Well,
I don't know
I'm
much about
sure
wrestling.
Josh will correct us all in the chat. So,
yeah, assuming he's still dodging the roaming Pokemon there in Rhyme City. How's that? Out of curiosity, Josh, I know you're in the chat. Are you on a Rotom phone watching us? Maybe he'll answer in a minute.
Did you say a Rodan phone? What?
No, a Rotom phone.
Oh.
It's literally a cell phone that's being possessed by the Pokemon Rotom.
Oh snap!
Yeah, those.
I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about Pokemon beyond Gen 2.
Yeah, that was actually in. I think those were created in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Oh, Josh says they have Rotom laptops now. That's interesting.
Oh no!
I just know we can't get those over here because of that stupid export law they've got.
Yeah,
but anyway,
going back to the wrestling references, King Gorge.
Yes,
that is a wrestling reference. They literally call him the British Bulldog. There was a popular pro wrestler in the WWE. His real name is, I looked it up here. It's Davey Boy Smith, but he wrestled under the name British Bulldog back in the 80s.
Well, there you go. That makes sense.
And as soon as I saw it's like the British Bulldog, I'm like, oh, he's literally a bulldog from Britain. Nice.
Makes
movie.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
It does.
My second
and
like
that could potentially be a kaiju reference because King Caesar was a lion dog.
I actually just saw that first movie of his, Mechagodzilla, or versus Mechagodzilla. I'm still, admittedly, I am still very young in my tokusatsu education. But yeah.
Hence why you listen to my show, right?
I will admit it gave me a good jump start.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you. But going off.
Yes, Jimmy, I am stroking my ego. Leave me alone.
Yes, but I'm surprised you didn't catch the Easter egg I caught that is actually a kaiju reference.
Oh?
Yeah.
Really?
Did you catch that Siggy's tattoo? This is actually my second like. That tattoo on his chest looks an awful, even though it's obviously snakes, it looks an awful lot like King Ghidorah.
King Ghidorah.
Yes.
King Ghidorah. Yeah.
Or Ghidorah, or I've heard it pronounced like 5 different ways.
He has so many ways to pronounce his name. I've given up trying to understand them.
Yes.
But I'm surprised I didn't quite catch that. But then again, maybe I just didn't get a good enough look at his tattoos.
Well, I mean, I just barely caught it because I was sitting here watching it here in the studio, and I was watching because I was looking for kaiju references because I'm thinking I'm watching a kaiju movie primarily, and I thought, oh look, his tattoo kind of looks like King Ghidorah, cool, and that was like the closest kaiju reference I actually caught in this movie.
Yeah, because like I said, it's a little more wrestling than kaiju.
Yes, but that's fine.
Very true.
But yeah, that was my second like. Jacob, what's your second like?
My second like, this one's gonna be a little different. I like the idea that our two main characters are trying their best not outshined by their fathers, but it's the idea of trying to be your own person in that way. And I enjoy that because you hear so many times of people who are the shadow of their father is looming over them and they can
Mhm.
never escape it. So you have these two characters who are trying to break out of that mold. And I found that now, granted, there's a lot of the story. It's just like, okay, that was weird. Why in the world are we doing this? But
Because it's a sports movie.
I agree. It is a sports movie. The idea that it's two people trying to break out of the shadow of their father, and the fact that our main monster salsa dances. I was like, what in the world? That was so funny. I was like, oh my gosh, because I've done Zumba for a while and I absolutely love Zumba. And I was like, oh man, this is fun. This has got a little more interesting in me. So yeah, the fact
well,
that
I do want to park on what you brought up about being in the shadow of their fathers,
yeah,
because there's actually a line, and I have to say that was a little bit of a surprise for me, because the whole time you think that, because their primary motivator is let's save the stadium, and that you think that it's just about money. That's the
Yeah.
whole thing. But then you
Mhm.
find out, no, I'm not trying to tear it down because of money. I'm tearing it down because of pride, because I'm going to tear it. And this was the line: tear down everything that casts that shadow. Because even Tentacular was
Mhm.
sick of being in Rayburn's
oh
shadow.
yeah,
So the whole
exactly.
thing was, so that was that was a nice twist. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's not just something simple like money. It's actually about pride, which makes you incredibly vindictive, makes you a little
Mhm.
bit more interesting as a character, and makes me hate you more. Congratulations.
Holy shits. Exactly. So yeah, my second like is kind of like a double fold. It's just the idea that it's our characters are trying to either escape from their parents' shadow, their father's shadow, or you have Tentacular. Am I saying
Yeah,
his name?
it's Tentacular.
Yeah, Tentacular is trying to erase that shadow because he knows he can never escape it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Where you have Rayburn Jr. kind of embraces it. Okay, this is who I am. And let
Yep.
me like Dwayne Johnson, his father, be like, it's like, yeah, he was always afraid that he was always just gonna be, Rock's little boy. But
Well,
he,
yeah, I mean, when he started, he wrestled under his father's name. He was
Yeah.
Rocky Maivia. And then later on, he became The Rock.
uh-huh. And now you have be like Dwayne Johnson's this big megastar, and we're like, who's his father again? Now,
Basically.
granted, yeah, basically, be like
Well, and it wasn't just his dad. He's a third generation wrestler.
That's right, he is.
Because
That's
his
right.
grandfather wrestled too.
That is true. So it's this idea that be like trying to, instead of be like with Tentacular, is be like, oh, I'm going to destroy it because I know I can never escape it, rather than be like, oh, I actually enjoy doing this. This is a lot of fun.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah,
just go with it and
makes
be my
him-
own person.
It makes him incredibly prideful and kind of petty. And
Yeah,
I
agreed.
like it.
Yeah, that seemed to me like when he said that, I was like, wow, dude. Like, okay, be like, yeah, the setup with be like, oh, because Rayburn and his coach be like pass away in a voyage across the sea. And I was like, wow,
You know,
that's really good.
I will tell you right now, I was half expecting the both of them to show back up before
I
the end
was
of the
too.
movie.
I was halfway
Mhm.
expecting.
I was like, this is setting it up for a really obvious twist, isn't it? Because we're not actually seeing them die.
yeah,
Yeah.
But they didn't go there, which is probably good, because that would have been so easy.
yeah. They did not take the easy route. They took the okay, let's kill off this character and not bring them back. Let's not do a
Watch
wrestling
they come
move.
back in the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we get a sequel, that'll
If a
probably
sequel's
happen.
coming, that's what'll happen.
Probably. So yeah, that is my second.
Because
one.
you know what the rule is: no body, no death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you never know. We might get a sequel and Rayburn might return. And it's like, okay, where we're going with this. But either way.
Rayburn Sr. versus Rayburn Jr.,
Yeah, probably something like that.
at least for a fight.
Yeah. What? You took away my title? Oh, I'm gonna show you.
You can't.
This
dance
week
to be
at
a
Monster
wrestler.
Mania. Hulk
Anyway.
Hogan.
Versus The Rock.
That happened.
It did happen.
Anywho, Y'all obviously know a lot more about wrestling than I know.
I know about this much. This much.
I
is about
know
it.
enough to be dangerous.
That is true.
I know that The Rock was a wrestler and his name is John Cena.
What?
That's all I know.
Wait a minute. The Rock?
I was mentioning the two references I know.
Oh.
I know that you can smell what The Rock is cooking,
Yeah.
and his name is John Cena.
Oh, okay. Got okay.
The Rock is a catchphrase machine. Let me tell
Agreed.
you.
Agreed.
But that's
The Rock
literally-
says,
And I know-
finally,
Also,
The
I know,
Rock has come back.
And I know that Dwayne The Rock Johnson fought 7 and 9 on Star Trek Voyager. But anyway.
Yes, he did.
Anyway, Nathan, your third like for this movie.
Well, Jacob already brought it up a little bit, but as a ballroom dancer, I really liked seeing him use the dance moves in his wrestling repertoire. It made me happy,
Oh my gosh.
All right.
especially when he's literally doing a partnered tango with one of his opponents.
That was funny. That was very funny.
Admittedly, the only bit about ballroom dancing I know is what I sat through while my mom was watching Dancing with the Stars. So
Oh my gosh.
I at least caught some names of dances I knew.
Right.
I recognized the words Paso Doble when I heard them.
That is actually a style. In fact, it is
Yeah,
a
that was the
dance
only style I
I've
liked.
actually learned a little bit of Paso Doble, and it is a style derived from bullfighting.
It makes sense,
Interesting.
Yes.
especially when
In
you're
fact,
fighting
the
Rayburn.
way, from what I understand, the idea is that the lead, so the man is the bullfighter, and the woman is the bull.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Interesting. All right.
my third like is I actually do like the zero to hero story that
Yeah,
we
agreed.
get going in this, but I do feel it's rushed at the end. Unlike Hercules, where they rushed the middle. I actually do think it would have helped a lot better if they had a middle of the movie montage where he was fighting a bunch of different monsters. I think that would have helped me believe that he could actually go up against Tentacular in the end and actually be able to go toe to toe with him.
I really thought that they were actually going to make him have a match with King Gorge, and then they didn't. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll save that for the dislike section because I have opinions.
Don't we all?
Mhm.
Don't we all? But yeah, that's my third
Hmm.
like. What's yours, Jacob?
My third like. The fact that I was stumped for a second, but I've got back on track. I'm now back on the ropes. I'm up again. So,
Guess who's back? Jacob's back.
all right. So my
For
my
a second,
third-
I thought that was a joke. So I was like, my third like. Pause, because I don't have one. All right.
I was
We've
I
done
was
that.
I have done that. I was trying to play it off. It's like, okay, I don't have a third like, but let's go with this. Okay.
Hey, I can make it work in the edit, so keep
Uh,
going.
Yeah, but either way, my third like is actually they use like design, like Nathan said before, like the idea of the design of the monsters. And they're like, oh, okay. Because you have the like it's not be like it's the British Bulldog. I was like, dude, that's freaking cool because it's a
Of
monster
course, you
bulldog.
liked the dog.
Of course. Ray. Hey, right?
Woof.
Wow.
You're gonna be talking about Clifford next. I just know it.
No, no. God help me if someone sponsors that on Patreon. Oh, gosh. My friends
Dun,
at Kaiju
dun,
Weekly covered it.
Aren't you glad I picked Power Rangers?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, but the British Bulldog was like it's a bulldog with big horns, and I enjoyed because they use more. They didn't go to the well. And be
That
like,
is
oh,
kind of this show. That's this movie's trademark with the kaiju is they all have horns.
Yeah.
yeah. For the most part, they all
Yeah,
have
it
horns.
seems like their aesthetic is find an animal, give it horns when it doesn't have horns.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
That makes it a kaiju.
Yeah, pretty much. And just monstered up, or the fact that you have kaiju that are like tiny, but they're effective. Like I think it's like the twin, whatever they were, be like Rayburn Jr. goes against at some point
I don't remember what they were called.
during the montage of fights.
Yeah.
But I found
It
it's
should
like,
have been
okay,
longer.
they don't go to, oh, this is just a copy of Godzilla, or this is a copy of King Kong, or they do something a little different. They mix it up a little bit. And I
they didn't
appreciate
just-
what they do with
They
that.
didn't just make all the monsters pastiches of
Yeah.
other kaiju.
Yeah.
Although, what was his name? Ramarilla reminded me a lot of King Kong. To be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah,
I think they even played into that a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But at the
yeah,
same,
but it's a little hard not to. Basically,
Yeah,
any
agreed.
gorilla monster that shows up, you're immediately going to think King Kong. It's
Yeah.
unavoidable.
agreed. But the idea they kept, for the most part, of let's make original characters, or we're not having to get the copyright to an IP we don't own. So they,
Well,
got
I mean-
creative.
No.
I
For
mean,
the
if
most part.
Pixar can't even get the rights to use Godzilla's roar in Monsters Incorporated,
True.
I
That's
mean,
because
who does anybody
Toho
else?
is insane.
yes, Toho is insane because that would have been awesome. It's just a sound effect. It would have cost them $5.
Toho would want 5,000 because that's
Yeah,
how they
true.
roll.
But I mean, it would have. This was before 98 98.
It was 98.
Yeah, 98 Godzilla. So I mean, I don't remember when Monsters Incorporated was 2001, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
2001.
So yeah, this would have been after that. So maybe Toho was soured on America by that point. I don't know.
Who knows? Either way, the idea of the monster designs were very aesthetically pleasing, and the fact to be like they didn't just dip from the well. It's like, oh, let's make this character and change him up, this monster and take him up, because you see that all the time with no creativity, and they actually
Mhm.
use some creativity to create their kaijus or their monsters, and I found
Yeah.
that very
Yeah.
aesthetically
Now, if you're going,
pleasing.
if you want to do pastiches of existing monsters, you can do that. And you can do that creatively. Case in point, the King of Tokyo board game.
Yeah.
There are several pastiche characters in that,
Yes.
but they get a little bit creative with it. So
Mhm.
they have a pastiche version of King Kong called the King, but he has it's over 9,000 scope. So
Yeah.
that's how they mix it up a little bit.
I gotcha. All right.
So are we ready to jump into our dislikes of
Yes.
this film?
Oh boy.
Okay, Nate, you go right ahead. Rip this film a new one.
What are the rules of monster wrestling? Because I still don't know how it works.
Thank you.
How do you win? Do you knock the monster out? Is it a 3 count? No, it's a 10 count. Why is it a 10 count for a pin, but not? But then, like, didn't they try to throw them out of the ring? So they're trying to 10 count outside. Do they have a 10 count for when they're outside
Dude,
the ring?
they-
What are the rules?
There was one of those fights where they were literally fighting in the harbor outside of the ring and
I
then came back
know.
to the ring and nobody said anything. I know
I
that's
know.
a pro wrestling
What
thing,
are the
but
rules? Because I was waiting. It's like, are you supposed to do a 3 count, or are you supposed to knock them out? What? How? How does it work? Because some of the matches end with knockouts, and a few of them they have to pin for the count of 10. I'm like, it's 3 in wrestling. And it's 10 when you punch a guy hard enough in boxing and you're waiting to see if he gets back up. But no, they actually pin.
I
Please
think they
explain
confuse-
your rules.
I think they confuse boxing and wrestling
That's what it sounds like.
and the WWE
And MMA,
really should
I'm
know
pretty
better.
sure as well.
Yeah, it's got some of that.
Yeah.
Good point. Very good point.
I mean, heck,
I
at
was
one point,
very
I think
confused because I'm like, how do you win?
I
Because
think at
that's
one
the
point I-
that is a problem, especially when you're making a sports movie.
Yeah.
You have to explain the rules, or it has to be about a sport where people generally know how the game works, because that is a way that you can create tension in
least-
your story. But
at
I
least
don't
what
know
we-
how the rules work.
right. At least we did get a punch out reference at one point during this film during the training.
True.
But there was at least that. My first dislike is actually an animation error.
Oh,
A
yes.
really bad animation
yes.
error.
Agreed.
So bad, I used it in the advertisement for this episode when I made that meme. And that's Rayburn's T-pose. Because that was not an animated T-pose. That was his static T-pose from when they made the character model in the program. You don't raise up like that naturally. The way he just popped up like that.
Oh, so that was the meme.
Yes.
Yes.
But the thing is, it's so much a standard T-pose, I recognized it while the movie was going. Because his muscles are not at the angles they would normally be at during character animation or movement. They are literally static. He literally pops up like he's a piece of plastic on a spring. No, do not do that. If you're going to make that joke, make it more natural. But anyway.
Here, I will no prize it for you. T-pose for dominance.
He was that too, yeah. I will grant you that.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, Jacob, your first dislike?
My first dislike is the stadium conundrum. This is the way I say it. All right. So the stadium conundrum. Okay. So they build this enormous stadium in honor of their fallen monster. And so they get a new monster. The new monster wants to leave. Okay. And so, no, you have an empty gut. And so this whole story evolves around saving the stadium.
Yes.
Right? There are huge problems with this. Okay. So the fact that Tentacular is the monster of the stadium, is a brand new stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't he have a contract with them? That's my thought. Be like, this character should have a contract with this town, with this stadium, whatever. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna leave. Bye. I'm like, wait a minute, don't you have a contract? Be like, if you have a contract with somebody, yeah, where's the contract? Be like, you have to have a contract. If you break your contract with a stadium or a town or an organization, what have you, you have to pay a hefty fine. And there's no mention of that. Here's another thing about the stadium thing.
Jimothy could have paid that fine and it wouldn't have mattered, but still mention it.
Yeah, exactly. So then there's the whole conundrum of, oh my gosh, be like we have to pay in 90 days to pay off the stadium. 90 days?
This is a horrible lease.
That's a horrible lease. Oh my God, you're looking at millions and millions of dollars. You got paid in 90 days? What in the world? And here's another thing. Be like, this whole thing is messed up beyond belief. Here's my rant.
It's a comedy.
It's a comedy. Believe me.
This is Jacob we're talking about.
Yes.
I mean, the man hates Galaxy Quest because it's too serious.
I do not hate Galaxy Quest. It's not my thing.
Which of you hates Monty Python?
I do not hate Monty Python.
Neither one of us are Francisco from Retro Rewind.
Jacob, do you even laugh?
We just heard him laugh. He's laughing now.
Apparently, he only laughs at his own jokes.
No, okay. We have watched movies together, and I've heard him laugh at stuff happening on screen. He just has I
have a very unique sense of humor. Let's say that.
That's probably the nicest way to put it.
Yes.
I think you're wrong 90% of the time, but whatever.
If by unique you mean undefinable, sure.
Okay. I'll take that. So either way, the stadium is owned by the people. They paid into the stadium in order for this stadium to be built according to what they made as canon in this story, that the people of this town invested into the stadium. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's established. So then it's more, we're going to have to sell the stadium off to this company in order to pay it off. And we're going to destroy it by the end of it. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And the fact that the mayor himself is signing away the lease without consulting anybody from this town. I'm like, whoa, huge red flags. Be like, one, if you have a contract with the people who gave financially to this stadium, invested their money, invested their time, invested in recreating their town in order to fit around this stadium, and now you're simply just signing it away? Like, dude, you are dealing with legal, federal, all kinds of problems there, and you're simply just signing it away?
Dude, it's worse than that. Think about it. How did they invest in the stadium?
Oh, yeah.
It's obviously something the town had to have voted on. Like in most stadiums, they probably took out bonds.
Oh,
which
yeah,
means
absolutely.
If the town people are the people who invested, that means they're the ones who got the bonds, which means Jimothy is paying them, which means they're mad that they're getting rich.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because he's going to pay out the wazoo to destroy this, to buy the stadium out.
I didn't think of that.
From them.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
they're the ones who own it via those bonds right
Yeah.
now. He's probably going to pay them off.
Yeah. And it's just like that whole sense of be like, oh, the town is bummed. And like you brought up that really good point that it's like, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
It's like if the town does technically own it, they own a portion of the lease and everything to it. So if be like, who's getting paid? They don't specify, but like what you said, it's the people who are getting paid, and they're upset that oh my gosh, they're gonna make it into a parking lot, but you're getting filthy rich over it.
And getting into my second dislike.
Okay.
Because this kind of
And
builds
here
off
I
of
thought
Phil.
ranting was one of my spiritual gifts.
No, let me get off on this because
for it.
here's the thing. And I'm actually going to have to jump ahead, so my third dislike is not going to make any sense whatsoever. But here's the thing. Tentacular is so dead set on destroying the stadium to take out Jimbo and Rayburn's legacy, as they put it, just so he wouldn't have to live in their shadow.
Yeah.
Destroying the stadium is not going to cause him to not be under the shadow of Rayburn and Jimbo anymore. They are still always going to say that Tentacular was not as good as
Oh
Rayburn.
yeah.
They will always say that because
Okay, I'm going to interrupt and defend that just a little bit because that was a very emotional decision. It made impulsively. He's looking at that stadium as a symbol of that shadow.
Agree
so
with you there.
he's just going to take it out, and it doesn't matter that he has that the unforeseen consequences is still going to be. People are still going to say you're not as good as this other guy, even though he took down the stadium.
But see, here's the thing: you take down that stadium, there's going to be a center of anti-Tentacular hate. Think about it. This town does not like Tentacular after he abandons them. And then it's because of him, their stadium's getting destroyed. So they are all, even though they should be getting filthy rich off of the bonds for this thing, they are still going to hate Tentacular for everything he's done for them. And there is a center of these people who are going to be able to feed off of their hatred for Tentacular over and over again.
I think what they're worried about with the stadium closing is that will be a source of income they will no longer have. Okay, so they get paid for the bonds, but the bonds are not going to be nearly as much as having a massive stadium open and having events there constantly, raking in all kinds of money for the community.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I'll get into that later.
That's why they're that way. I'm thinking of it from Tentacular's point of view. From Tentacular's point of view, taking out the stadium is not good enough. It really should not be good enough. He should be wanting to take out that town so that all the people who are going to always be pushing Rayburn and Jimbo Coyle as the greatest people who ever existed, they're all going to be separated to the winds and won't be able to get together like that, assuming the internet does not exist in that world, because I don't think they ever showed that.
No, it exists because that one guy is on the internet tweeting all the time.
True,
and
but
TikToking.
True, but I mean, he's a tech whiz. We didn't see much of anyone else hanging out on the internet, but I could be.
Doesn't matter. The internet exists.
Yes, the internet exists. I'm sure the kaiju battle, the World Wrestling Kaiju Reddit sub forum, whatever it's called, would go crazy over this, and they'd all hate Tentacular for destroying this town. But honestly, if you're going to be evil enough to take out a stadium, go full evil, buy up the whole town, get these people separated, and destroy the town to build the Tentacular amusement park.
Makes sense.
I want Tentacular World.
Tentaculand.
Yes. No, I'm not gonna go there. I had a joke, it's gone. Anyway, Nathan, your next dislike.
Okay. I'm going to save the big one for the end.
Okay.
So the rules was kind of big, so we'll go to a smaller one, sort of, but I'm saving the big one for the end. Am I the only one who thinks that, I don't know who would be in charge of such a thing, but did anyone else get bothered by how recklessly the audiences, the crowds for these matches were endangered?
Yeah, indeed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was just like, really? You're going to throw the monster over there? This isn't like a tiny person
Yeah.
who's getting thrown into the stands. No, this is 100-foot tall monster, and one wrong move, and there's an entire wing of this stadium where, well,
And you can't.
you're going to have some blood soup up there. I'm just saying, some paste.
It's not like Power Rangers where you can claim they were fighting in the abandoned warehouse district.
Which there shouldn't have been anything left of the Angel Grove Warehouse District after about 3 episodes. But whatever.
I agree, but somebody there has the ability to build abandoned warehouses in a hurry.
Well, let me tell you, because Monster Island is in Ogasawara, Japan has learned how to rebuild from kaiju attacks very quickly, mostly because it happens every other day.
Yes, I agree.
So all I'm saying is there was a lot of reckless endangerment, and these people were saved only by the kids' movie factor.
Yes, I will agree with that.
Yeah.
But so
Especially-
it's like it's funny how they put in so much work to do world building to account for a lot of things, but they don't account for the reckless audience endangerment.
Yeah.
And it would have been easy. I mean, you got flying motorcycles. Just put a big shield around the entire, around the audience areas, and that the kaiju can't break through, and you're done.
Or just put the audience farther away or something.
Yeah.
They're kaiju. It's not like you have to be right up close.
Exactly. Heck, you get that close, you're not going to be able to see anything.
That's true.
Virtually.
You're going to see feet. And unless you're
Yes,
Quentin
pretty much.
Tarantino, that's not going to be very appealing.
You raise a very good point,
Oh
sir.
my gosh.
Anyway, I kind of jumped in on my second dislike earlier. So, Jacob, yours.
My second dislike, and it's going back to the stadium conundrum. All right. So, because this whole stadium thing just bugs me. It bugs me about this whole movie. So the town is in danger because their new monster has left. And so now you have an abandoned stadium that can't be used except for that one monster.
Apparently.
Hold on. Let me use a good example. Be like, if you go to our world, you go to the real world, you have like
Monsters aren't in the real world. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Not reality.
I mean, they don't really hang around East Texas that often.
That
I
is
will
true.
admit.
That is true.
The closest
Everything's
thing-
big in Texas, including the
but
kaiju.
Unfortunately, the only kaiju I'm aware of that's anywhere near here is, and it's not even really a kaiju, it's the chupacabra down in Mexico.
Oh,
Yeah, don't mess
I know
with that guy.
things about Chuba thingy.
Yeah.
Chuba thingy. All right. So to use a real world example, you use AT&T Stadium, also known as Cowboy Stadium in Irving, Texas.
No, it's in Arlington.
Okay, Arlington.
Dallas
Sorry.
Cowboys Stadium is no longer in Irving.
Okay, it's in Arlington. My apologies.
You should know. You're the sports guy on
That
this
is
podcast.
true. I know a lot of people be like, wait, you put that in the wrong town? What kind of Cowboys fan are you? I'm a pseudo Cowboys fan. Okay, I
just
enjoyed the
gotta know
Cowboys
it's
growing up.
You just gotta know it's next to Six Flags.
That is true. That has always been interesting. And the new Texas Rangers Stadium.
Well, yeah, because it's the anyway.
Anyways,
Just
so
because I feel like acknowledging the chat, Dallas's rating.
I didn't actually see the raid come through, but thank you, Dallas, for joining us.
yeah, thank you guys.
Nobody else is talking in that thing but him.
All right. So the fact that like AT&T Stadium was built for the Dallas Cowboys. So if the Dallas Cowboys aren't playing oh my gosh, we're going to lose money on this stadium. Plus,
Called
Jer-
an entertainment center. You could do
Exactly.
anything there.
the fact to be like, you can bring in more entertainment. You can do college games, sports.
Yes, the college kaiju games.
Yeah, the college kaiju games, the music arenas, whatever. So this movie gets this whole thing. Oh my gosh, we don't have a monster. We don't have a stadium that can be used functionally. Seriously. Be like, you're so worried about, be like, oh, if it's not a kaiju monster, if it's not a kaiju fight, we really can't use the stadium. Use your brain for 3 seconds. What
I
in
mean,
the
if
world are
If
you
the
thinking?
biggest draw leaves, do you think they're going to find something else to hold in there?
And
They can.
And let's be honest, we are not talking about a town the size of Dallas-Fort Worth.
I agree with
We are
you
talking
there.
about a town the size of where we currently are, Jacksonville, where we got a
Florida?
stadium. It's only
What?
good for the high school, and this team actually happens to have a stadium for what is assumingly one of the major sports of the area.
Think of it like this.
So-
think of it like this. This is like what's the name of the Packers stadium? I think that's Lambeau Field.
Lambeau
that's,
Field.
Is
Yeah,
it
it's in
Lambeau
Green
Field?
Bay.
Lambeau
That's
Field.
yeah. That would be like the Packers up and leaving.
Yeah.
What are they
I
going
would
to do
agree
with
with
that?
you there. I would agree
Yeah.
with that, the idea. But the idea, if you have like, even if you're a small town and like, say whatever, the fact to be like that a stadium or entertainment center can be used for other events.
If people are willing to come to the middle of nowhere to go see it.
Exactly. But it can
And
be
how-
done.
But here's the thing. We admittedly do not know what's around
Exactly.
Stoker besides the town I'm calling Pittsburgh because I can't remember the actual name. of it,
Right.
but that was the joke
Right.
because it was the Pits. Obvious that's the only other town we already know around there. So it looks like this town is in the middle of like Oklahoma or the equivalent.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Wyoming.
Yeah. Something
Sure,
like that.
Wyoming. The only
Certain parts of my home state of Indiana.
New Mexico. I've driven.
Oh, you
across
know
New
what's in New
That's
Mexico?
dull.
Giant ants.
Oh yeah, good point.
Very true.
And
So-
somewhere out there are the trimmers worms.
Very
They're called
true.
graboids.
Lloyds.
I'm admittedly only seen the first movie and it's been a long time.
They call them graboids in
Lloyds.
that.
They do.
It's been a long time. Did I mention it's been a long time?
No, you
I have-
didn't mention that it's been a long time.
Anyway,
Jimmy agrees with me. You haven't mentioned that it's been a long time.
well, it's been a long time since I saw Trimmers, even though I recognized Reba McEntire the minute I saw her as a kid. Anyway,
But yeah, I found that very complexing. The fact that, like, there again, we don't know the layout of the entire. We only know this little town and this other little town. There's no large dynamic of what the country looks like. Be like, we can assume this is America, but we don't know.
actually, it's more likely Britain because the actual name of the town is like Stoker on Avon, which is a very British name.
True, but why do they speak English? Like American English.
Did you just
Wait a
ask why
second.
they spoke English?
Wait, wow. If it's in England, why are they speaking English?
Because
Hmm.
because
Is
it's a
my
movie.
face palm coming through the mic? Because
Yes, it is.
Hmm.
Why are they speaking
But
American?
very-
Is
very-
that what you're
very-
asking?
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Install a very large.
oh, well,
dog
why
foot
are
in
they
the mouth.
speaking American?
Because they hired American actors. Because there's not all the thought was put into the show.
Yeah, I gathered.
I mean, you're talking to a guy who used to deal with the envoy for his bosses who claimed to be a posh British man, but it turned out he was actually half Scottish, and the drunker you get him, the more Scottish he becomes.
Ah, okay.
That was a good episode. I don't know I heard the movie was garbage, but your episode of it was good.
Oh, do you want to watch Yeti that bad? It's on Tubi. You can watch it for free.
No. I got too much to watch as it is. I've still got most of the Godzilla films to watch. But anyway,
All
Yes,
right.
watch those.
So
watch
yeah,
those.
that's my second.
and Gamera, but I know there's a couple of those I want to skip too.
All right, that's my second.
There are 4 good ones out of the 12.
I
but-
said some of those I need to skip, not all of them.
Okay, apparently you have to watch the one that's about a funny chapter of my intrepid producer's life. So
That was
there
one
you
of the
go.
ones I was going to leave on there. Maybe the MST3K version.
Oh, the 5 MST3K episodes are great. But anyway, Rumble.
Yes, Rumble.
Yes, back to Rumble. That is my second dislike.
Okay, Nathan, what is your third dislike?
All right, people, strap in. Remember how I said I feel like I've been spoiled by the likes of Pixar so that other animated movies like this just can't measure up?
Yes.
This is the biggest reason why. One of the things that Pixar is amazing at is crafting story, in particular, character conflict.
Mhm.
There was a lot of setup in this movie for character conflict, particularly between Winnie and Rayburn Jr., aka Steve the Stupendous.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
All of it gets resolved very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that when we get to the final act, when we're having the big final boss fight against Tentacular, they've resolved all their differences, and it's really just a match to save the stadium.
Yeah.
There's no more personal stakes because they resolved all of those in 10 minutes,
Mhm.
Very true.
even though they had set it up for that. If this had been in the hands of a Pixar, they would have carried those all the way to the end of the movie and would have infused the finale with a heck of a lot more emotional stakes. So it's not just whatever the plot is about. There are character stakes in this to make this more personal. That annoyed me because I'm like, why are we getting rid of this wonderful framework for character growth and character conflict? Because we set it up. Okay. Rayburn is lazy and is used to basically, doing what they actually do in professional wrestling, which is put each other in holds, tell each other what to do. Everything is fixed. It's all scripted,
Mhm.
as Josh said in
Wait.
the chat.
Wait. You're telling me that wrestling is fake?
No.
Yes. And so are people. But anyway.
I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Right.
Yeah, that's actually a joke from a wrestler back in TNA. He had a T-shirt that said "Wrestling is real, people are fake," which is weirdly profound, actually. But anyway, so he's lazy. Winnie is a hard nose. My dad was the best pro wrestling coach ever. I am going to whip you into shape. What was the name of Rocky's coach? Suddenly, I can't remember. Mickey. I was like, Mickey, you're a bum, Ray. You're a bum. Yeah, I mean, it's just, so, but that gets taken care of in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I'm like, why didn't you carry that over? Why? I need more of this. I need more of this conflict, and you abandon it. By the time you get to the 1 hour mark, it's to the point where the last 30 minutes, they're the best of friends, and they're just saving the day for the last 30 minutes. I was disappointed.
Very true.
And it's not just them. There was a lot of other stuff like that. Basically, by the time you get to the last third of this movie, it's nothing but plot conflict.
All righty.
All right.
My second dislike, and I'm going to admit that. My third. This is my third dislike. I'm going to fully admit this dislike of mine.
Bye, Dallas.
I'm going to admit this dislike is purely on me, and it may not translate to other people. But here's the thing. I'm not a sports guy. So your life
Does pro wrestling count?
is close enough. It's sports-like. I mean, they do actually make those throws a lot of times.
Well, that's why they coined the phrase sports entertainment.
Okay, so either way, sports-like movies.
I'm being anal, I know.
I mean, this is as much a sports movie as Yu-Gi-Oh!
This is very much a sports movie.
Is a sports anime. I'm saying that for the people who are still wanting us to do Yu-Gi-Oh on our in our group. But anyway,
I saw that comment from Josh.
oh, believe me, it's become a thing. But here's the thing.
Oh, apparently I have impressed Mr. Josh.
Good. I do not understand. Here's the thing. I know I'm a big fanboy when it comes to a lot of things. I recognize in some cases I have no room to talk about some things. About sports fanaticism and sports obsession. But I don't understand it. I don't understand tattooing yourself with
Dude, I've been to enough conventions to tell you that the nerds do it too.
I know the nerds do it. You're talking to me who doesn't go that far with anything. This is a part of life, of people's lives. I don't understand where you obsess about something so much you are willing to have it tattooed on your body and live with it the rest of your life, when even if under best circumstances Tentacular is eventually not going to be popular enough to tattoo your whole body with. That's just the easiest, most obvious version of this. I can kind of understand the diner owner making the Tentacular sign because, hey, you're binging on the fact that, hey, the next world champion is from our town, so of course we're gonna get off of his popularity. And of course the barber shop there named Tentacuts because it's based on that. I'm thinking she's gonna have the easiest one because she just has to change her name. That sign is probably going to be relatively cheap compared to the neon sign that the diner has. But I do not understand the fact that to these people, this is their life.
Mm-hmm.
I obsess about a lot of things, but it's never, I've never let it consume my life to that extent, with one possible exception, but we won't go there.
You started an animation podcast. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because I appreciate it. And admittedly, now that I have an animation podcast, and by all technical accounts, he started the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
I just am the one who pushes the buttons.
Oh, you push buttons? That's what my producer does with me all the time. Pushes my buttons.
And I push his buttons.
Exactly.
Oh, calm down, Jimmy. Okay. Here, I'll give you a rim shot just to be nice.
Yeah. Anyway, it's so much of this movie draws me out because I don't understand this entire town's obsession with Tentacular and the monster fighting in general. Now, admittedly, sports have never been my thing, and I'm kind of used to my things being not socially acceptable in general. Not as
well. Keep in mind their obsession is played for laughs.
Yeah, agreed.
We know that there's stuff like this that's real. There are towns that they're very centered on their professional sports teams
Mhm.
or their college teams or something. Like, you're talking to somebody who grew up in basically northern Indiana and just a stone's throw away from South Bend. What is one of the things that South Bend is obsessed with? Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly their football team.
And I understand that they're like that, but I am speaking as a person who doesn't understand it, and it comes off as just odd to me. And it is one of the things that kept me from enjoying the movie more.
Understandable.
That's the main thing.
Well, but again,
like I said, this is on me. I recognize I'm weird in this matter.
Again, in their defense, one, it's play for laughs. Two, people are probably just as baffled by your fandoms.
I admit this. I just don't obsess.
So let's call it even. Nerd.
I've been called worse.
Well, and nerd is no longer an insult at this point anyway. And anyone who tries to still use geek and nerd as an insult, I'm just like, you realize that hasn't worked for about 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like I said, I understand that I have a lot of this. I have no room to talk because I have my own geek nerdisms. I say as I look at like the 2 Star Trek posters hanging on my wall, and the wallpaper on the back of my computer showing the Doomsday Machine blowing up a Borg cube. But I recognize I'm talking out of my butt.
My mind is blown by this epicness. Why didn't you show me the back of your laptop sooner?
I can anyway. I'll send you the picture. But I recognize this is purely on me, and I recognize it's not going to it makes it sound like an idiot and talking out my butt. It's just I I could not get into the fights with this movie as much as I would have with another movie because I don't understand the sportsness of it. That's what it comes down to.
The sportsness.
Yes, the
Yeah.
sportsness. I don't get into sports.
I'm
Not
just
even
impressed by
esports.
you inventing the word sportsness.
It's the likeness of being sports-like. That made no sense. That made more sense in my head than it did when it came out of my mouth. But before I stick my foot farther up my mouth, Jacob, what is your third dislike?
At least I'm not the only one sticking my foot in my mouth tonight. All right. So this
Am I
my
the only
third-
one who's managed not to put his foot in his mouth?
Possibly.
possibly.
Well, I guess Jimmy and Dealit kind of have, but all they do is sit around and interrupt us.
Except Deedlet's been very quiet tonight, and
I'm a little astonished at her quietness.
this concerns me.
Yes.
She's plotting our demise. You got to watch out for the quiet ones.
Apparently, keeping track of the chat has caused her to be distracted. That's why she's been so quiet. Plus, I
see.
suspect the unwanted advances of a certain visitor is keeping her distracted. Also,
Oh, excuses, Jimmy. Excuses.
So
This is what happens when you record a podcast with me and my producer is near an AI right before Valentine's Day. I'm just saying.
Ooh.
you know, I hadn't thought about that. Apparently, I should have.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dealit.
She appreciates your sorriness.
Anyway, Jacob, what do you got?
My third dislike is kind of a nitpick, but it's the point where Tentacular is the ceremony. He is going to destroy the stadium, and you see them loading around all this TNT all over the place, and it's sitting right in front of the door. I'm like, okay, so you're gonna blow the entrance up to the stadium, and that's gonna be your big plan. That I'm going to blow the stadium up, but I'm going to blow a very large hole in its door. And I'm thinking, like, okay, don't most when they.
As someone who appreciates Mythbusters and enjoys them seeing them blow up things such as the cement truck, I agree with you. They should have been packed that stadium full.
Yeah,
of more
be like
stuff.
it should be like you should have seen, like, you know, they got charges everywhere and blah blah blah. That could have been like a nice. Be like, oh, the stadium will blow up in this other time. If you don't, if I win, I blow it up. If you do, it's disarmed the whole bit. That could have been a good plot point. But the idea of all of these crates of TNT being stacked up in the front of the building, and you're
saying
gonna
it
blow
should have
the
been more
front door off.
You're saying it should have been more split up.
Yeah, it should have been more like a more dynamic story point. Instead of be like, oh, we're just stacking boxes up and we're gonna do this plunger, and our hero comes in and saves the day by pulling a cord.
It would have been better if it had been a giant wrecking ball and Rayburn could have caught it before it hit the building.
Something like that.
That would have been cool, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Yeah.
may have been too much to animate, though, at the end of COVID, if that's what the problem was. I don't know.
Meh.
I'm just suspecting because the time it came out, maybe the production got halted and stilted a little because of the shift to work from home.
Although I have to give them credit, Rayburn Jr.'s line when they stop it from happening was pretty funny. Show up, but no blow up.
Yeah. That was kind of funny.
That was good.
Yeah, just the execution of, oh, we are going to blow up the stadium with dynamite, and we're not going to set charges all over the place and make it more dramatic, but we're just going to blow up a few boxes in front of the door, and then we're going to blow the door up.
Well, I have a defense.
Okay.
Minor defense. This is a cartoon.
Oh, agreed.
And I don't mean that in the defensive way. It's like, oh yeah, everything we review is a cartoon. I don't mean it that way.
Right.
I mean, this is playing on cartoon logic to some degree.
Oh, agreed.
Because
yeah.
in any cartoon
And it's a
you would have
comedy.
watched,
Yeah.
any cartoon you watch, a stack of dynamite at the front door would have been enough to blow the building up.
Yeah.
And so that's the logic it's working on. Now,
Oh, completely
granted,
agree.
as much of the other logistics in this movie that shouldn't fly, but that's probably what they were thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, just my thought of the idea of like someone brought up a wrecking ball. Oh, that'd be kind of cool. It'd be a really cool idea, and you know, Rayburn Jr. could come in and save it. Or the fact to be like, oh, I've set charges. Be like, if I win, I blow it up. If you win, it gets dismantled. Be like the bombs or devices get dismantled or something like that. That would have been a cool. Be like, okay, here's your heighten to your finale.
And then you could have, because you know it's taking place in the stadium. If he loses, make it like a cage match where the audience isn't in there, because obviously as soon as Rayburn Jr. loses, they blow up the stadium with Rayburn Jr. in there, and Tentacular in there too, technically. But
yeah,
that would have been dramatic also.
yeah,
And plus, they could have gone all out without worrying about, you know, hurting people, and maybe they could demolish the stadium while they're fighting.
could.
Just a thought.
Yeah, because
Just a thought.
the idea there's the mother brings up, be like, it's not about the stadium, it's about you. It's trying to bring the point around, like it's not really about the stadium, but the entire movie is
About
based
the
around
stadium.
saving the stadium.
The idea is that the stadium is symbolic of them.
Yes.
Yeah, and I get for Winnie, the stadium is all she has left of her dad.
Yeah.
I get that. It's still a building.
Yeah. It's just the building.
The town is not the building. Her father was not the building. Neither of their fathers was the building. It's just a monument to them, and you can build another monument later.
Yeah.
If you really need one.
Like the monument's now sitting on a hill somewhere.
Yeah, there's a thing.
But either or, that was my thought. That's my number 3 dislike.
All right, and that brings us to the end of another episode, which means we need to rate this thing. Nate, what is your rating for Rumble?
Like I said, in fact, I almost considered lowering my score after this discussion, but I think I'm going to keep it where it is. It's above average, but it doesn't rise to the heights of, say, your Pixar's. Heck, I'll even say Disney Animation or even DreamWorks. So, despite the fact that this is about kaiju and wrestling, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
All right. Jacob?
Me, with the discussions we've had, I actually gave it a higher point, because it's normally I'll give it a point, but during the conversations, be like that number will fluctuate, and it's fluctuated further down the scale than I initially thought. So be like, it has some good points, but there again, it has so many like catastrophic problems with this film that it gets a, oh heck, I'll give it a 6.5 as a film.
Good night. We ought to just make this unanimous, because 6.5 was where I was sitting too.
Okay.
This is don't get me wrong, there is a lot good that is going on in this movie. If you're not being critical of it like we are. And I think most kids would not notice half the stuff we're looking at.
No, I don't think the kids would notice. It's a nice diversion, but I guarantee you that most people are going to forget about this movie by next year.
You're going to be lucky if people remember this film by next year, because there's so many story issues in this.
Oh yeah.
Shoot, the weakest Pixar movie is better than this,
Mm-hmm.
which I know that's not a fair thing to say, because nearly every
That's
Pixar
because
movie
Cars 2 is still better than most other animated films.
Bug's Life is worse. Anyway, I'm sorry. I have bad feelings about A Bug's Life, but we'll get to that. We'll get there when we get there. So yeah, I think this falls down around where I feel like most Blue Sky movies were in terms of overall enjoyment, except this one did not try to preach to me.
Yeah.
So which most Blue Sky movies seem to want to do. So yeah, 6.5. It's an average movie, and I think it would have made a quick buck in the theater if it had gone. And I don't think it's going to push many people to Paramount Plus, whether they download the app or just watch it on Amazon. So yeah, 6.5.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
should I make Josh happy and rattle off all of the wrestling references I was able to pick up on?
You know what? You go right ahead.
Well, out of the ones that I haven't mentioned already, well,
I mean, I
one of the
shoulda known you
monsters
would've-
doesn't. One of the monsters does an RKO out of nowhere. At one point, there is a poster for SmackDown, or at least it looked like SmackDown.
I saw that. I think
It's when the mayor's talking.
it
you-
was
the
generic
crowd-
enough. It wasn't SmackDown, but I mean, it was SmackDown.
Yeah, there's a point where the audience starts yelling, "You suck!" at the kaiju during a match. Trying to see what are some other ones that I had. Well, there's one that's not wrestling related, but they say, when at the beginning of the movie when they're talking about, oh, those are your lucky socks, and Winnie just smells them. It just smells like victory. Well, that's an Apocalypse Now reference.
That is.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, they do just out and out use the NXT logo.
Oh, and then they
everywhere.
They also do some Dirty Dancing references. No one puts Ray
Yes.
in
They
the
do.
corner.
They do.
and then
Oh
use
my
visual
word! I
references.
forgot about the Dirty Dancing reference.
Yes.
With Lady
Yeah.
Mayhem.
Winnie calls
Oh.
Tentacular Jabroni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tentacular poses like Hulk Hogan. Rayburn's theme is this is a boxing and movie reference, but his entrance theme is literally a remix of Eye of the Tiger, because of course.
Yeah, true.
I think that's all the ones I had. So I'm sure there were more, but those are the ones that I picked up on that I haven't mentioned already.
Let me go ahead and read the trivia question for next week. Next week's movie is The Rescuers. Not The Rescuers Down Under, the original The Rescuers.
Oh, the one where they
1970s.
go to Dallas's neck of the woods.
Yes, indeed. The trivia question for this, though, is what is The Rescuers the first movie to have in the Walt Disney canon?
Ooh.
And please don't answer because I want to save that for next week.
All right.
I will post that on the Facebook page in the morning if I remember to, because I have forgotten the last couple of weeks, but I'll do my best to actually do it this time. Other than that, Nate, where can we find you on the internet?
I got a list for you.
Or as you like to put it, give us some shameless self-promotion.
Shameless self-promotion. That is one of my other spiritual gifts. So, I am the host and curator of the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. So you can listen to that show on all of the podcatchers and on our website, monsterislandfilmvault.com. And you can follow us, follow the main show's Twitter feed at The Monster Isla 1. And then there are several assorted related Twitter accounts. Yes, including Jimmy's, which is at NASA Jimmy, and then several others. And then you can also
I
find us on
specifically
Facebook.
like Crystal Lady Jessica's, to be honest.
Yes, my pseudo sister. Yippee skippy. Anyway, so then there's also, you can find us on Facebook. You can support us on Patreon. That would be great. And we're also on Instagram. I think I've rattled off all the important ones. We have a Twitch channel, but we almost never use it. We have a YouTube channel where I will post episodes and some bonus videos. I will do some kaiju game streams, fun stuff like that. I think that's all that. You can also follow me as an author because I am not just a podcaster, I am a writer, and my author website is nathanjsmarchand.com because, yes, the URL, the domain, I should say, nathanmarchand.com was already taken. I'm going to find that guy, and I'm going to make sure that he's in the crowd when a monster has an accident during a match. So you can also follow my author Twitter at nathanmarchand7 and my official Facebook page, which is called The Worlds of Nathan Marchand. And then obviously check out my other podcasts, which are proud members of the Kaiju Ramen Podcast Network, which would be The Power Trip, a journey through the Power Rangers franchise. And as I mentioned earlier, Henshin Men, a podcast about the appreciation of Japanese superheroes and their high-flying and high-kicking adventures. That's all the important stuff. Unless you want to be here for another 10 minutes, I should probably stop.
All righty. Well, other than that, I think that's going to be it for us because our stuff comes in the normal outro. So you got anything else, Jacob, before we leave?
Nope. This was a wonderful match.
Oh, yes, this was fun. And looking forward to making a trip out to Monster Island to talk to you all about Godzilla the series later on.
Yes, you guys will be coming a little bit later this year. And because you are generous patrons on MIFV Max, better known as the Patreon page, you guys are coming back to talk a little Power Rangers later
Yes.
this year.
I was actually surprised to find a Blu-ray of that movie.
Oh, yeah, there's a Blu-ray.
Yeah,
I have
got
the
it.
Blu-ray in my personal collection and curated in the film vault. Just did an episode on the Power Trip about it, actually.
Yes,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that episode. So,
did you enjoy the part where I owned Michael because he apparently forgot that theme song was in the 2017 movie?
that was stinking hilarious. And I'm gonna
Pause the
admit-
recording right now and go look it up. A few moments later,
Yeah.
Godzilla, dang it!
That was great. Now, I will admit, when I first saw the new Power Rangers movie, and you have the horrible 5 seconds of the
Oh
only
my
good song in
gosh,
the movie,
yeah.
I didn't catch that it was actually the original version the first time, but I sat down and watched that movie a second time for some reason, and did catch it that time. But yeah, other than that, I think
Yeah.
that's going to be it for us. So in the meantime, this has been Drew,
This is Jacob.
And Nathan,
and we will catch you.
and yes, Jimmy from NASA.
Yes, and we will catch you in the next frame.
Cue credits.
And I'll edit the outro back in later because
Let's
I'm gonna
slam it, baby.
say that again so I can cut it in.
Let's slam it, baby.
I'll put that as the stinger. Okay. Thank you, Nathan, for
Yeah,
joining us on
Thank
this.
you so much.
You're
That was
welcome,
fun.
fellas. You're welcome. I'm guessing the 0 out of 10 is his assessment. Is his assessment of my of how much I noticed the wrestling references.
I have no idea what
Because
his
I just
0
see a
out of
0
10
out
is.
of 10 with no context.
Yeah, unless maybe he did not like this movie.
No, he gave it a 7.5.
Oh well, then yeah, I don't know what.
Maybe
the
he's
0 out of 10
talking
is
about the
context to.
rescuers or something.
Oh.
Oh, he doesn't like the rescuers.
You what?
What kind of?
Now look,
I was
will
wondering who the kaiju was in this room. Oh,
I-
okay, I
I
got it.
will admit that Rescuers Down Under is the far superior movie. But I
Exactly.
think The Rescuers is a good one too.
Yeah,
And plus, I kind of put this on the list so we could get to The Rescuers Down Under.
true.
But anyway, because we still have to go in some order with series. But anyway,
Well, I did see Rescuers Down Under first.
Yeah,
I
same
think-
here.
admittedly.
I did too. I had it on a bootleg VHS from that my grandpa recorded off Disney Channel.
Oh, he says he didn't like the sequel either.
Josh,
What?
we may have words more specifically when you're on for Detective Pikachu later on in the year.
Yeah.
You might want to ban him.
I
Just
No,
can't.
I wouldn't say
I can't,
ban. No,
I can't
absolutely
ban
not.
him for two reasons. A,
ban Hammer
I
coming his
can't.
way.
I can't because A, it's his cousin, and B, he's the patron giving us the most amount of money right now.
Well, true.
So yeah,
True.
I can't ban him. But anyway, thanks again, Nate, for being on. Let me see if I can find someone for us to raid.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know who's on right now.
So am I sending you the audio?
Please.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and see if I can get it off Twitch also.
Yeah,
But
let me know how
yours-
it goes. If you can't, I mean,
I'll
I
know
can upload. I can upload. This is recorded in Wave, so if you want, I can put it in Audacity and convert it to MP3.
whatever's easiest for you to send. I was gonna suggest sending
Well-
it to me via wormhole.
What the heck is Wormhole?
The best.
Are the profits inside?
No, the prophets are not inside, and neither are the paw wraiths. Paw wraiths was the word I couldn't think of earlier when I was making that quote. Anyway, start raid. Essentially Wormhole. You can load it up there, and I can start downloading it while you're uploading it. And I have like a day to get it, but it's like it will let you send like 10 gigabytes at a time.
Send me a link.
I will send you a link. I will put it in the chat, or I'll send it to you on the Twitter thing. Anyway, let me hit the raid button so people can get out of the thing and I can close the stream.